welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, watching on YouTube or listening on this podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You're probably going to have to, somebody bumped into that camera. Benny's going to have to fix the camera there a little bit. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Benny, the intern, with us here. Reid Wilkins from the famous Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, joining us once again on the Hangout. And from, I don't even know where he's from, like everything. Canadian Brewhouse, ISO's, Plant Life, Ribeye. Tesoro. We missing anything?
I think that's it.
Pat Kehdy here on the Hangout. Round of clicks for Patty. Patty, how are you? Welcome
honored.
to the Hangout.
Only 13 years I've been friends with most of you, and this is the first time I've ever been on the show.
Welcome to the station.
UConn has had me on more than anybody here.
Yeah, but that's FM radio.
It's true. We don't listen to them, right?
That's what they do. I love Uke and McCord, but that's what they do. They're
It's true.
So
True. I'm honored.
Reid, are you honored to be here today?
Well, I really am. Dave, thanks for having me.
The EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider. Be sure to buy Canadian. Check them out, sentinel.ca. We will talk a little bit about bone-in steak night as soon as the boys are supposed to bring us that bone-in steak, because that's coming up on Saturday. We do have a big Oiler game to discuss tonight. I do want a couple minutes to talk about Canada soccer and Gold Cup beginning tonight. And Reid, that's a very nice message they put you on your cup today. It says enjoy.
Oh, did they write on here?
Yeah, they wrote enjoy.
Oh, I didn't notice that today.
Are you enjoying
nice.
it?
And they have the correct spelling of my name, though it's off the app. I ordered it off the app, so that's probably why this was pre-printed. I ordered something. It was at a restaurant. I was ordering some takeout, and they said, "Can I get a name?" And I said, "Reid, R-E-I-D," and I could see the guy type in R-E-E-D, and I was just like, I don't need to correct it, I guess. It was just funny. I actually said it, and they just now still going to type it the wrong way. Anyway, yeah, it's good to be here.
Reid and I are connecting right now over a video game on our machine, Super Volleyball Japan.
He doesn't even know your name, and you're connecting over a volleyball game on the
That's what brings us together, Tom.
Yeah, it's something that's there because we got past Cuba. We've gone past China.
Oh yeah, Cuba's quite easy to beat.
We can't beat the Americans. You start down 11-9.
Yeah.
And you need to come back and get the win. And that one defender in the back digs balls like crazy.
I want to tell you, Pat, that this is all BS, but I've actually witnessed it. Yeah. And they do get quite infuriated.
And this is an arcade game?
It is.
I used to
Super
play it in
Nintendo
high
game.
school in Evansburg at the arcade, so I finally looked it up to see if it was on this machine. So it's a side scroller, so it actually looks like it's 4-on-4. 3 guys in the front row and 1 in the back row. So there's no dimension aiming left or right. But I used to play with a buddy in high school. We played against each other. And you can do different types of sets. So when you pass the ball, you maneuver the joystick, and that determines who's going to hit it. You can run fakes where one guy comes in and misses, and the next guy comes in and hits it. You can set back row. It's an awesome volleyball game.
I feel like this is a very vintage game if Reader played in high school.
I'll show you later.
It is.
Oh yeah, I
but
think it's 89.
exciting.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Is that?
Yeah.
Like, it's difficult
like it.
to figure this out. And like Reid yesterday got 14-13.
Yeah.
But then fell 17-15.
Yeah.
This morning I got it to 14-14, and then I fell 16-14.
Do you guys play together on the same team?
Well, we just rotate
You
turns.
can't.
okay.
It's
No, we play
1v1.
against each other. So when you play when you play the computer, it's rally point. We put in a 2-player game, and it's to 15, not 21. It's old school. When Matt and I played each other, it starts you 7-7, and you have to serve to score. So it could take forever to play.
We played a one game. It took a while. He dominated. Like, I was up 14, like 11, and then he rallied and took the win. And then I took the second, and then he had to go do a show because getting away of our games.
Beating USA, I feel, is like more important than doing any show, though.
That's like, but they're good in this.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to strategize on how to go beat them. Like, I could get a couple aces. I could serve a couple of aces, but then they learn. and then they start blocking it and something like, well, I can't just like get it over and over. So it's difficult.
The game AI in 1992 was so good, evidently.
Well, okay, think of it that we have that arcade machine, which has some newer games on it, but the games that are most played. Okay, you are playing the Mario Kart.
I love the Mario Kart.
It's the track and field. When was that game from?
Oh, that's from the
1986.
80s. Yeah.
You have this Super Volleyball Japan, and we have
1992.
Tecmo Super Bowl, which was 93.
Yeah.
And what's your Mario Racing from, like 84?
It's no. It's
That's more new.
Nintendo Switch
Advance.
Advance.
Game Boy Advance.
Game
wasn't
Boy
it?
Advance. It's
like
like 2000.
Late 2000s? Maybe mid 2000s?
Pretty sure Mario came out in the 80s, but okay.
But the one
Mario
version
Kart.
he's
Are
playing.
you coming at me, bro?
Oh, Mario Kart.
It's the
Mario
version
Kart.
the version of Mario Kart that
You're
he's
not
playing.
doing the Jumpman version.
No.
No, I did that though one. I did that one here and I beat it. I was very happy.
Wasn't that his original name, Jumpman?
I think
Was
so.
that Mario?
'Cause it was like a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah,
right?
he was just jumping over the barrels and
That's
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
He had the hammer thing.
Isn't there 100 games on that thing, and you guys only play 3?
There's 6,000.
Yeah.
6,000 games.
We've tried.
Correct.
Play 3
Yeah,
games.
sometimes Jay and I will just
amazing.
ask our phones for a random number and then get that game
Oh, okay.
and try it out.
Yeah.
What was the Abraham game you found or whatever?
Was it Exodus?
Yeah, you guys were really
you
into
enjoyed that
game.
for a little bit actually.
It actually was a game. It's like you're Moses and you have to find a pattern through all this bramble. But then there's guards that come out or boulders that can fall on you. You really had to think to try to get through the maze. But I should say there are 6,000 games. And even with what I'm going to tell you, there'd still be several thousand. But a lot of times there's, like there's 2 Super Volleyballs. There's Super Volleyball Japan and then Super Volleyball. And I don't know what the difference is. And then there's like 8 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games that are all virtually the same.
Every Turtles game's on
Yeah.
there.
For those watching on YouTube, you can just show that on the camera if you can. This is what it will look like on Saturday if you head to a Canadian Brewhouse and buy your tickets ahead of time for the Bone-In Steak Night, which is happening at all Canadian Brewhouses except Ice House and the airport.
Yeah.
You guys can go eat this now. We just wanted to show it. We wanted to make sure. So dive in on that one.
This one actually is crazy. As of this morning, I think we get an email every morning of all the tickets we sell for every event. It's almost fun to see the numbers every day, but this morning when I looked, I think the most was like 14 tickets for the most store that had the tickets. So it's crazy. This one was flying off the shelves. Usually 40 ounce
14
steak
left.
night per store.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Right.
like it's almost under 20 tickets per store available now. It's for some reason this one sold way faster than 40 ounce steak night and tomahawk night, and those ones do sell out all the time. It just people wait towards the end. This one, I think somebody could eat one person because the 40 ouncer and the tomahawk are not a one person thing.
I disagree.
Well,
Oh my God.
Jeez.
You know what?
60 ounces.
I did see a guy eat 2, and
There's my guy.
and I heard that you've crushed 1.5
Correct. And all the sides.
and
2
all
sides.
the sides. Yeah, I don't know why
Dusty was there for that. I have the guy to confirm it.
it's just a lot of meat.
It's
That's a lot of meat.
delicious though.
Zach
That's a lot of
DeCum, he's a producer on our afternoon shows. He's a hungry boy, Patrick, and he could not even finish one.
Yeah, it's a roast. Usually
Yeah,
a 40
it was,
ouncer is a
yeah.
roast,
Yeah.
right? The tomahawk, at least it's cool. There's a blade and you can lift it up and take a bite out of it. A 40 ouncer, it's like your mom and cooking a roast back in the day.
So how many ounces is the tomahawk?
It's about just under 40 ounces with,
so
with the
it's
bone,
okay.
though, with that big blade.
Well, okay.
right? Yeah.
You're not eating the whole 40.
Yeah, you're not eating
of
the
the
whole
bone.
40. 40 ounces the bee's knees. It's straight 40 ouncers, right? Including some fat if people crush the fat. You
You got to eat the whole thing.
you
Yeah.
do.
I
There's a-
leave the gristle.
Yeah, you
guy
got
in
to
a-
eat it finished. That place got to be clean, and when you're done, to be able I beat this.
This guy in Fort Mac, Mark Taplin, he's an OG regular there. Goes to all our steak events, gets it cut in steak bites. Doesn't want to eat. Doesn't want to see the roast. Doesn't want to see the tomahawk. He just makes us cut them in steak bites.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Whenever I do the show at Ice House, I'm usually getting steak bites.
Yeah,
I got the club last week.
we just changed it and it's dynamite.
It was
good
phenomenal.
before, but now it's amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
But so, what did people get for boning?
They
Steak
get
night.
a potato gratin, our take on it. I actually made the potato gratin myself that I brought here. You guys should taste it. It's amazing.
We'll be eating some of that after.
Asparagus and a bone and steak, and obviously our amazing steak sauce. So
And where can people get their tickets?
go online, get our tickets, or go in store, have a beer, and buy them in person. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
We gave away a couple last week. Gavin was one of the winners, I think, and Rob from the Grove. So
nice.
they're going to be going on Saturday to get in on this bone and steak. Did you, like, I was listening to the show last week, potato gratin. Did you guys figure out, you and Jay were discussing that.
Yeah.
Did you guys figure it out, what it is?
Yeah, it's cheese.
But was it, there was a, like, you
Lots
guys
of
were
cheese.
comparing what's the difference between on scallops, I think it was, or whatever.
Oh, I can't remember what we arrived at.
You didn't figure that one
Scallop
out?
potatoes where the potatoes are like sliced.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just eat all the food. I don't cook it. But when I was trying to Google the difference yesterday too, because I thought it was completely different. I thought it was like full potatoes, but it's sliced potatoes. But then ours is hash browns, like a hash brown concoction
like
mix.
grit style.
Yeah,
I
so
like that.
we have an amazing culinary team, and they just think of these different variations of our items, and it's just like I did this last night at I wanted to make it fresh, so I made it obviously at midnight last night when I was nervous coming on here, and I had it for breakfast this morning. The backup with my kid, and my kid's like, "This is so good. All I taste is cheese and sour cream." And that's when I realized
wow.
I might have just put too much cheese and too much sour cream in it. So,
That's all right.
but it was dynamite.
Spency 5 cents. He had a barbecue steak from Ribeye Butcher last night. It was so damn good. And then Bronco Nick barbecued a 20-ouncer from Ribeye on Father's Day. Delicious.
Yeah, ribye's taken over. I'm telling you right now.
Good.
If you haven't been to a ribeye butcher shop and had a smash burger, you've been living under a rock.
There's one by my parents' place in St. Albert, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we should do one day, is just get my dad to grill some up.
There's the steaks there and have you ever been to a butcher shop where there's specials? I walked and I worked there, and I walked in about a month ago to pick something up. I picked up a meat lovers box, and they're like, "Oh, would you like to buy a pound of wings? You get a pound of wings for free." I was like,
Buy one, get one free of pound of wings.
just because I work here? And they're like, "No, this is our special."
Jeez.
So I'm like, this is actually cheaper than going to buy them at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not cooked, obviously, but yeah, you can load up on those days.
That's the fun of stuff is cooking.
Air fry
things.
those bad boys, grill those bad
Yeah.
boys. There's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Round of clicks for Busta Hyman, because he goes, "Oh my God, that round of clicks is stupid." So round of clicks for you, Busta.
What did he say?
Round of clicks is stupid.
I'm doing extra clicks
so
for you,
you-
Busta.
So we're giving
So
a
you're
round of clicks.
intentionally annoying him.
We're Busta, yeah. Well, we did those clicks a while ago, and now he's making a comment about that. So there you go. That's one's just
Didn't
for you,
Jay
Busta.
bring that here? Didn't
Yes.
Mil
yeah,
bring that
Jay
here?
brought it.
Jay brought it from.
I had no idea what it was.
So it's funny though, because Jay brought it from Golden Bears football, who got it from Golden Bears hockey back in the day. But he showed me a clip. I think it was on like the TNT panel. I think that's what it was. A couple of games ago or whatever. They were doing round of clicks.
Oh yeah, somebody. Yeah.
And Jay was like, so it's like,
Yeah. I mean, sure, it's something that's out there.
It's
yeah, well, it's
silly,
from
and we do
poetry
it.
too. Like this, it's a big thing in poetry. When you
Oh,
finish
of course.
reading, you do
Yeah.
round of clicks.
Yeah, as we all know.
Yeah.
Some,
go to a lot
some
of
people
that?
haven't watched 22 Jump Street.
Great movie.
See, you knew.
Slam poetry.
There's various movies that have had that, where they do a round of clicks. It's actually very easy to remember those things. So
Those are for
I'm
you,
just
Busta.
cultured, unlike you two.
You
I
are very.
guess.
You're all very cultured.
You should go
That's
to a
true.
poetry night, and they should
Do I have to read?
videotape it. Well, I think you should.
I don't want to. Maybe I will. See, you've seen the movie.
I know. It was,
They did the round of clicks in there.
I just forgot that they did the round of clicks, but Jonah Hill and that, when he does his slam poetry, was excellent. You like that? Benny's giggling. I love it. So funny. Oh God, that's why our station's so good.
I'll go up with a chat GPT.
Anyway,
That's what I'll do. Write me a limerick on Oilers Panthers game 6 tonight, focusing on McDavid and Draisaitl.
It will be. ChatGPT might be. And I'm not giving them a plug because I do anything. I pay the monthly fee. They don't give me any discounts, but that is game changer in life.
yeah.
Yeah. AI, ChatGPT, all those ones, they're crazy.
Reid, I'll let you judge this limerick when he's done reading.
I'm just looking at the lines.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm listening.
We'll get to that. In game 6, the Oilers take flight with McDavid and Dry in the fight. They skate fast and bold, chasing Panthers for gold. Can they force one more game Tuesday night?
Well, lines 3 and 4 are too long, which is a problem a lot of people have. And then the game 7's not Tuesday night.
See, and I feel like they're saying, can we force another game tonight?
Oh, by playing tonight. Oh, okay.
Will they force another game? But that's it does read poorly on that one. Okay, with that, let's get to Hangout headlines. Brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Premier tee conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time by visiting theranchgolf.com. It is the night of Game 6. Oilers looking to stave off elimination, save their season, force one more game left in the NHL season by forcing a Game 7 here in Edmonton on Friday. Reid, do you have those lines still up?
Yeah, well, I see Rashog's tweet here. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Perry. Draisaitl between Kane and Kapanen. Henrique between Skinner and Frederick. So Skinner stays in. Janmark between Podkolzin and Brown. So Kapanen's in and Arvidsson comes back out, right?
Yeah.
Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Kulak, Wallman with Klingberg. So Stetcher comes out. And as expected, Stuart Skinner in net.
I do also, Gene says full Oilers morning skate minus Nugent Hopkins before Game 6.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if Ryan is just throwing Nugent there because he sees a placeholder, or if
maybe
there's a little bit of a change there.
Yeah, maybe Max Jones or somebody is skating up there.
Yeah, those were the back-to-back tweets there. Stoff has Jones with McDavid and Perry. So Nuge not on the ice, so Ryan is just assuming that Nuge is going to go there, which I think is a fair assumption.
Yep.
Patty, how you feeling about tonight? Do you want to go there?
I don't even. I feel like I have some of my boys listening, and I just don't want to get beaked. But
You're nervous.
I'm a diehard Oiler fan, man. I was at Game 7 last year.
Were you?
I
flew down to Florida?
Neat.
I booked my flight before I even left the building after Game 6.
Wow.
And then I had to recruit somebody to come with me, and thank God one of my best buddies, Ian Scott, had too many dangles, and he booked his flight on the roof of Ice House at probably midnight that night. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous to a point where I got invited to watch parties today.
Yep.
At like my buddy's house, my kids' friends' houses, and I said no. I said no to everything. I told my kid, I'm like, we're watching it at home. You're probably gonna go watch Chell and listen to me yell, or play Chell upstairs and listen to me yell on the TV, and I can't watch it in public. I might cry either way tonight, and it's stressful. I've been a fan for a long time, just like everybody here, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
Did you see any of those cups?
No, but I was there at 06 and
No, but like the late 80s, like you wouldn't have been
No. But 06 was my heyday. That was the last year my parents paid for season seats. So I gotta get something out of it. I've been paying these season seats since 07. So it's stressful.
What are you guys thinking about tonight's? Like, where are you guys at with this team? By this team, the Oilers.
Well, like I've been saying, Florida's outplayed them. 7 of the last 9 regulation periods really have not been close, and that's what concerns me most. It's not as if, Florida's won 7 of the last 9 periods, but it's like just barely. Like the Oilers just got to figure out this little bit. They've outplayed them pretty thoroughly, and I mean they really stifled them on Saturday night. I mean Edmonton had trouble getting across the red line. I thought they didn't have much presence in the offensive zone. So given that, I'm concerned about tonight because I think Florida's rolling. Now, the flip side of that is, in a sport like hockey, anything can happen in a game. There could be a bounce, a penalty, a spectacular play by an order. Or honestly, as much as I kind of reject the notion that McDavid and Draisaitl have not been good in this series. I mean, Draisaitl has 2 overtime winners. McDavid's made some spectacular plays. I know he only has 1 goal.
Are people saying they haven't been good?
I don't think it's that
I've
they
seen
haven't
some
been,
of that.
Yeah, I think it's more they have. It's not that they haven't been good,
Or maybe just
they
Marchand.
haven't taken over a game.
Yeah, but I don't know if I think that's hard to do in the Stanley Cup Final. I mean, even
regardless, you got to do it.
Even Marchand, it's not as if he's taken over games. He's just seized the moment.
He's put his stamp on those
right.
games.
So yeah,
I guess Leon's done that. Would you say Connor has put a stamp on any of the games yet?
No, maybe not as much. But I also think that if the Oilers are going to win tonight, though, they are going to need something as they had in Game 4. Adam Henrique has to score. Connor Brown has to score. A defenseman has to score. Podkolzin or somebody like that has to score. Like look at the comeback in Game 4. Nugent Hopkins power play. Okay, you got one of the alphas scoring. Then you got Nurse, a defenseman, scoring, and then you got Podkolzin scoring. So I really think that's what they need, and I think that has been this team's their origin of their success when they have been doing well is that everybody contributes, and you have guys finding a way to get on the score sheet. I mean, I'm not making this all about one player. I'm just using him as an example. Adam Henrique, for example, has not been close to scoring a goal in this series. I barely remember him having the puck on his stick in the offensive zone. You know, Connor Brown's had a couple chances, sure, but last year in the Stanley Cup Final, especially as they orchestrated the comeback, and even if you look at the Dallas series last year and other games this year, they've gotten goals. You know, Henrique had a 2-goal game, I think, against was it Vegas?
Vegas.
Connor Brown had, even though it was empty netters a couple times, he was scoring early in the playoffs. He scored last year in the Cup Final. You know, so yes, you'd like McDavid and Draisaitl just to take over a game, but they're going to need somebody lower in the lineup to get a big goal, like Podkolzin did the other night to tie it. Or even Wallman. Let's not forget, Wallman got the goal that we thought was going to be the winner till there was 20 seconds left.
That's a good point.
I don't disagree with Reid, but I'll just say this. You're at the point now where it's either the last game or the second last game, and those guys can take over. Those guys need to take over. It's as simple as that. They need to strap this team to their back. I'm going to say it. And then maybe you get contributions from those. This is what you're playing for, your legacy, your legend, your Hall of Fame status. They have to read, in my opinion. And I don't agree with people who say that those guys haven't been good this series, because they've had good moments. But we're not walking away from, outside of Draisaitl in overtime, we're not walking away from a lot of these games going, boy, that was a McDavid game. We haven't done that once in this final,
that's
right?
true. That's true. Yeah,
And that has to happen.
Also, EMG maybe has
happen.
the best. People are saying they need to be better than the Florida Stars. Smitty the Walter Connor hasn't been good to his standard.
That's a good point.
And Gorgeous going, I'd like Leon and Connor to seize the moment 2 times each of the next 2 games.
Yes. And that's not too much to ask, because it's 1 for sure, potentially 2 if they can get it done.
Yeah.
You can do that. They're
I mean, I
capable
guess
of it.
they need to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Even if they don't dominate an entire game.
I think it'd be great if you also just had Connor and Leon come out and, you know, they combine for 2 goals within the first 10 minutes of this hockey game type thing. And that's clearly a lot easier said than done.
Yes.
But take that 2-0 lead and see how the Panthers are going to react now to it. And then see how the rest of your team reacts to the fact that Connor and Leon were the ones that came out and gave them the advantage to start this series. Because the Oilers have led, which games did they open the scoring in?
Game
1, 2?
Yeah, it's
No,
like
not
18
2.
minutes or something.
Game one,
It's
that's
not
it.
a long
That's
time.
it?
No.
It's just game 1?
No.
Well, the third line for Florida is playing better than our first line.
Yeah.
You know, like Marchand. I know maybe you said Marchand doesn't take over the game. Marchand owns us right now. This is how Toronto Maple Leaf fans feel. Like we'd have to wait this long to get Marchand. Like I'm sitting there last night. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I can't believe that. Like the Leaf fans have endured that for so long, and this guy's an Oiler killer.
Add the Canucks in there too.
Sure,
Yeah,
add the
he's
Canucks
part of that a little
in
bit
there.
too from 2011 or whatever it was.
I think at the end of the day, it's go time. I would love to, you know, like Reid said, I'd love to see those third and fourth liners show up a little bit, but there's only 2 games left in the season.
Yeah.
We you know, McDavid and Draisaitl, it needs to be the McDavid and Draisaitl show. As soon as they light it up, everyone else will follow, right? You know, with the Bouches and the D and the, like Nurse's goal the other day, like that's like a Connor McDavid goal. He had how many inches of space to pot one, right?
Tight
But
spot, yeah.
I don't know. I think we just have to be better.
It's at the point where it's reasonable to ask those 2 to take over.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the game, like when we're talking about like the Stars taking over, I remember last year in the Cup Final, I thought Game 5 that was a McDavid legacy type game. I remember it was he had 2 goals and assists. His 1 assist to a Perry was like walking 3 guys on that power play. First goal was nice, and then the second one was that empty netter that Kachuk swiped off the goal line.
Yep.
those are the type of games I look back at and just remember like that was the game. Like McDavid was like, we're bringing them back. Like we're not going out yet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need that big of a type of performance, but like the Nash chat was saying, Florida Stars have been better the past couple games.
Yes.
Like Bennett, Marchand, even Reinhart started to score. Kachuk had his 2-goal game in Game 4. Like they've been better, and I don't think people were predicting that going into the series where like McDavid and Draisaitl looked like the clear guys that were better than them, but. I think if you expect the Oilers to win the next two, it's going to be because McDavid and Draisaitl overpowered themselves over Florida Stars. But
Yeah.
that's what you got to hope for.
Also can't afford to give up a goal in the first
Yeah.
56
minute
seconds.
or 5 or maybe the first 7 shots.
Just 2 goals in the first
Yeah.
period every game. That's
Yeah.
what Florida's had on the Oilers. Like,
Yeah.
if you expect to win, you can't have that happen.
Yeah.
What's the first period stat, Reid? You said it on the post-game show with the goal.
Well, it's 7-0 the last 3 games.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
forget what it is in the series. I think it's is it 14-5 or something like that? Or
It's crazy.
it's
They're getting dummied in the first.
yeah, it's not good. I just, now the flip side of this is it's also on Florida to repeat what they did on Saturday, which is not going to be easy either. I mean, we talk about it's not being easy for the Oilers. It's not easy for the Panthers either.
This is taking everything out of
maybe
them to
that
do this.
maybe that was the absolute best they can play, and if they come down a little bit and the Oilers go up a little bit, then who knows? That could be the difference. But I feel as if like Ben used the term legacy game. I feel as if I never heard that term until this Stanley Cup Final. Now, Ben, as you know, I'm quite old and out of the loop. But I feel like that's kind of to me, that's a newer term.
It is.
That to me, it applies less to hockey than where there's a series as opposed to like football where it's like, okay, a quarterback is in the Super Bowl. This could be his game. I mean, I don't think if the Oilers lose this series that tarnishes what McDavid and Draisaitl have done in the last decade.
No, but I would say that I think if Crosby lost that second cup appearance, because they lost the first one to the Red Wings, if they lost that cup appearance and they lost 2 in a row, the question would start coming up, is he going to get his type thing? I think if Ovi and the Caps didn't beat the Golden Knights, like that was a legacy series for Ovi. And if he doesn't get the cup, he's the guy, and he'd probably still be the guy that just never could get it done. That's where, like, it only applies to the best of the best. And I think it has, like, Connor and Leon are still really early in their, like,
Well, they're about halfway, really.
yeah, okay, but I'd say they're still the front half as opposed to the back half. I think there's still like 10 plus years left that these guys could potentially play, but maybe right in the middle. There's still a lot of hockey to play to go get your cups, but getting there back to back, and if you lose, was it you that brought up that there was just slight comments made from people that are they going to be known as the guys that just can't get it done?
In press row the other night, if they don't get it done and they lose to Florida again, the questions are starting to pop up. Can these guys get over the hump? And I was like, holy crap, that's fair.
I think that would have applied to Thornton and Amarlo
Yeah.
with San Jose, the guys that just never would go finish it off. So I maybe just because we're not in those markets, we didn't hear it fully, but I think it's been there in hockey to a degree. I agree, though, more so with quarterbacks in football, more so with NBA stars. We know that their records much more. But I think with some hockey players, it's as much as it is a team game, and we know it takes the whole team to go win these. You need to go get those cups.
And like using those Sharks teams as a comparison, they were always good in the regular season, and then except for that 1 year, like never even made the Cup final.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the team up 3-0 on Los Angeles and got reverse swept. Not gentlemen swept, got reverse swept.
Hey, I'm neutral when it comes to
So
gentlemen sweep. I just enjoy those morning shows.
I guess the thing is, and this is just me. This is just me. And as people know, I can be a little bit difficult sometimes. I just resist the urge to start labeling someone's career while they're still mid-career. Like, oh, McDavid and Draisaitl can't win a Stanley Cup. Okay, well, they're going to keep playing. Yep. And hockey is such a weird sport because there are so many players on a roster. It's like, well, you got to win a cup, and then you're a good player. Like you're telling me, Gadjevich is like going to have had a better career than Draisaitl or McDavid if he gets one cup and they get 0? Was he even on the team last year? I don't know. I think they added him this year. Was he? So anyway, just for argument's sake.
But I know what you mean. Also, just for context, it wasn't a local media person. It was someone from out of market national media that brought up if they don't win.
But again, I do understand that that's
Yeah.
a narrative that comes because people, it's hot take city. That's the sports media. You have those conversations, and if these two best players, like if there was a ranking of best players in hockey, these two for the most part are going to be 1-2 or 1-3 type thing. You get to the Cup final back-to-back years and you don't win it. There are going to be those questions of, okay, halfway through their career, you haven't won.
Okay.
What's it going to take to get it? That's where that's going to come from.
Fair enough. But, and look, I want to be clear. I'm not doing this to like defend the guys on the local team. I'm doing this as like a theoretical discussion about how we label players. No! How we label players. So McDavid and Draisaitl have been in the Stanley Cup final twice and to another conference final.
Yeah.
Okay. Connor Hellebuck, 0 Stanley Cup finals. One conference final. All those core Jets guys. So
He will be Mike Liut.
So who's now? But those guys aren't finished either. I mean, Hellebuck next year could win the Conn Smythe and the Vezina and the Hart, and the Jets win the Stanley Cup. But I'm just saying we're so quick by we. I'm using the royal we as media and fans. We're so quick to label McDavid and Draisaitl as failures because they make the ultimate stage and are so close and don't get there. But the guys who aren't even making that stage avoid all the scrutiny.
Oh, no,
and I'm like,
Hellebuck's getting scrutiny.
wait a
He
minute.
deserves to be
Like,
Hellebuck's known as regular season Hellebuck and playoff Hellebuck. Hellebuck's got a label attached to him right
Yeah.
now. I think there's no question about that.
Well,
and I don't think
good, he should.
it's they're labeled as failures, but it's just in the end.
Can't get it done.
And I think it comes down to when you're comparing other players. Like if you're projecting after, let's say hypothetically the Oilers were to lose tonight, and make sure
Find that stud.
Knock
That's
every word
drywall.
possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so then the narrative, okay, McDavid right now doesn't have it. What is that when you rate Connor McDavid versus Sidney Crosby, and you want to rate what their careers will be? Well, who's got?
I get it. The cups.
And so now it's at that point, Crosby's got 3. McDavid doesn't have one.
It's like when I was a kid.
And that's the difference. It's not going to be Connor McDavid versus anyone. It's when you're trying to break down stars versus stars, and you're trying to differentiate. Well, who is better and not? Well, the ring does matter at that point.
Fair enough. And I remember, like, when I was a kid in the 1900s, the guy that always came up was, Marcel Dion. Well, look at all the points he has. Oh, and like never close to winning a Stanley Cup with the Los Angeles Kings.
Right.
Now, but here's the other thing. In a 32-team NHL, and maybe someday 36, 20, 30 years from now, how many like legit star Hall of Fame players are we going to be talking about to have never won the Stanley Cup?
We're already starting to see that.
We already see that. Like,
Yeah.
will Matthews and Marner win? We don't know. If they do, will it be in Toronto?
Well, not
we don't
Marner.
know. Like, look at, So that is going to be interesting. To what extent are we just going to say, like, is there a point where we have to stop saying, well, he was good, but, and maybe sometimes we can just say he was good. And in the playoffs, crazy things happened, or he didn't have a good enough team around him, or they didn't get the breaks at the time. I don't know.
Can you, and honestly, the goaltender situation is the big thing for me. Is like, you can say these guys can't win or they can't finish. Who are the last 10 goaltenders that won a Stanley Cup?
Well, Matt Murray won 2.
Yeah, well, some of them actually
Binnington
aren't
won
that.
one.
Right?
So some of them aren't that good.
For the last 10 years.
But I would take Binnington.
Darcy Kemper.
I would have taken Binnington at the trade deadline. I feel like he would have given
that
us
was
a better
never gonna
shot.
happen.
I know, but
was a bad rumor.
as a fan, I am easy to blame one person because I can't blame Connor and Draisaitl. I want their statues and I want their roads named after him, but I just don't think we have the goaltending, and they don't have the goaltending. It's not we don't have the goaltending; they don't have the goaltending. That's where we sit around on the fire and drink some beers, and all we do is complain about the goaltenders. We never complain about the Draisaitl and McDavid's.
Skinner did leave the ice first. Another
He'll be
indication
in there
he's
for
the
sure.
starter. So that's just throwing it out there.
Can I add one thing quickly? The Panthers, if you didn't hear it, Matthew read it out. Spec described what happened at the Oilers morning
I didn't
skate
read
at the
that out.
Panthers. Oh, I thought you
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I did that off here to just ask.
yeah, no, we had to do it on air.
I have it.
Okay, perfect.
So Spec put this out 38 minutes ago, right before the Oilers were about to head on the ice. Spec wrote, so Carter Verhaeghe is alone on the Oilers practice ice while the rest of his team skates on the other ice. It's a twin rink facility that the Panthers have now. Oilers want to practice early but cannot. He finished. Florida assistant tells Oilers, wait, they're flooding the ice. Oilers back to the assistant. No flood. Get the hell off the ice. And then I think it was Gene or Shoggy had a picture of the rink crew like going in and putting the posts, like bolting the pegs in, and then hitting it with the drill to get the marsh pegs in because they have to. Anyway, and then one guy sitting in the net, one of the rink crew, while the Oilers are skating around, and the other guy's like drilling the holes for the marsh pegs, just irritating the Oilers and delaying them. So I'm just gonna say this: like I have a joke about hockey gods and they giveth and they taketh. I really believe in that stuff. And an a-hole move like the Panthers pulled today is bad juju. I'm not kidding.
Well,
It is, and then all it's going to do, Matthew, is piss off the Oilers even more. They're going to remember it, and it's going to fuel them more.
well, I had this thought last week that I didn't like what the Oilers did with the media practice because I feel like you're giving the Panthers an insight into like you're feeling something. Like you're trying to mess with things.
Yeah.
And I say you don't do that if you're winning. The Panthers doing this, I think, is a sign that they're still scared of the Oilers.
They sure,
And
yes.
that, I think, should give the Oilers confidence in return, going, they're playing games with us because they know they need to win it tonight.
And
they know if they don't finish this Stanley Cup tonight, they're not winning the Cup. This is Game 7 to the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
We go take this game. We're winning the Cup home ice Friday, boys. That would be the message that I'd be sending within the locker room if I'm McDavid, if I'm Perry, if I'm Draisaitl. Look at them. They're playing games. They're scared.
I don't know.
Carter Verhaeghe shooting pucks on the ice when his team's practicing on the other rink would irritate the living hell out of me.
That's weird.
Then
that
the
he would
rink
do that.
guys going in and being like, you can't skate yet. We're going to flood. Or the Florida assistant says, we're going to flood. No flood. Get the hell off the ice. And then the rink guys going in and dinking around with the nets. That would piss the living you-know-what out of me. And I would be like, you know what? F these guys. I'm going out there tomorrow. I'm going to ram it down there, or tonight, ram it down their throats, send all their stupid fans back home sad, and we're taking this thing back to them. I'm not kidding. I'm being
I agree with
serious
you on
about
that one.
this.
I'm there.
That shit's real.
You can
and-
swear on this show?
Well, you're not
To a
supposed
degree.
to.
Limited.
I'm just
The
kidding.
thing I would say is like what you're doing is the Panthers almost is you're allowing McDavid to have his Michael Jordan meme moment of I took
Yeah.
that personally.
Yeah.
And if there's a player I don't want sitting there in the National Hockey League ever to be like, and I took that personally, it'd be Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
And I'm stunned that the Panthers organization would do this.
Yeah, I feel like it. So what did he do? Put his skate cards on and walk over to the other rink and be like, "Hey guys, we're actually gonna go mess with the Oilers."
I'm assuming he just walked. He didn't practice, and he just walked over and was like, "I'm going to mess with them."
Listen, this morning, Maddie asked me what I thought about, and I gave him my real answer. Obviously, I'm not going to give the real answer here. Just hearing that as a diehard Oiler fan, now, I'm just like, if the Florida organization had anything to do with this without them knowing, sure, but they for sure planned this out. There's no way that they didn't send a message or an email to the crew and be like, let's mess with the Oilers practice. Like, I feel like I feel like it's crazy. Like, if we did that here, which we could mess with them, right? Instead, our fans are taking pictures with Marchand at Dairy Queen and buying them ice cream and patting everyone on the back, and they're working out at the JW gym, and there's people that live there just being like, hey, great series, great job. It's like, we should be making their life a living
People
hell.
are doing that.
I work out
heard-
there, and I know the people that live in that building, and they are the type of people that would kiss
You
anyone's
can't do
ass.
that.
They're
You
very-
can't do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people at that building that just want to be seen. It's just- it's
There's
annoying.
a Josh Linton worked with us at the GameCon this past weekend, and he was working out at the gym there, and he's like, yeah, I was working out right next to Matt Kachuk. He just got cupped. You could see all the cupping. They're in the steam room. He's like, yeah, I was just BSing with him, having a great time. I'm like, Josh, what are you doing?
You start playing Peak Pony Club on full blast.
What are you doing?
The rest of that time,
Yeah, I sent him home right after his shift because I wasn't happy with him. But he told me that there was other people in the gym just being like, hey, great job, guys, great series. It's like, what are you doing?
The soccer
that is
culture
that.
is the flip. This is where I bring soccer culture in.
Yeah, honk horns outside the
Honk,
hotel rooms
make
all
their,
night.
you should be just mocking them and like in their like, well, not fully in their face, but like chirping them so that they want to get out of that workout room as quickly as possible.
Like who's pulling the
No.
fire alarm on Thursday night, right at the JW? I don't.
Fire some fireworks and stuff right outside.
You know, it's got to happen. If we bring it, if
I'll
we're
wake
dragging
up
it
to
back
that.
here.
You
Yeah,
know?
you're just down the road. You
I'll
don't
wake
care.
me up and I'll, what's going on? And
And it'd be
if
worth
I
it.
saw a bunch of Oiler fans firing off fireworks to wake up the Panthers, I would be so impressed.
Can't
It is
listen.
pretty loud. Like even I can hear like the fireworks on anytime there's fireworks down.
Yeah, but there hasn't been anything during
God.
this.
Yeah,
like there hasn't been like, and that's this like if when Canada goes to Honduras type stuff, that's then Honduras. There's weirdness that happens. Do that here. Back in 06, I think somebody pulled fire alarms.
Didn't somebody pulled a fire alarm in the last couple of years in the playoffs? Did they not? Like against the Oilers on the road, I think. I don't know.
I can't remember.
I know that's happened recently.
But it should. I'm not saying, hey, everyone, if they win tonight and come back, go set off fireworks in the ice district. I'm not saying that, but I'd pull a fire alarm in the JW. It's there's drills. You can practice drills. I would do that.
Everybody to the muster point.
Yeah, I'll just say though about like the
games?
Whatever Haggy is doing. The Oilers have been asleep. It feels like the past couple games. Like, would this not like aren't you giving them an opportunity to wake up?
Yes.
Like, you can feel that extra like fire in them. Like oh, like okay, like they're up 3-2 at home. You'd think they'd be just cool to like. Hey guys,
We've got this.
Win tonight. We're at home. Everything's great.
Celebration.
We're up 3-2. All good. Like instead they're playing mind games to possibly wake up Edmonton. I don't know how
Yes.
smart.
I don't get that one.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing these mind games against the Oilers because they think it's going to work.
Sure.
That's the flip side of this. I mean, look at Vanacek stare down of Skinner.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe they think we can push the buttons on these guys and they can't handle it. I don't know.
The flip side to that though is, do you need like if it doesn't work, it cost you a cup potentially here. Like, and I don't know. If I was ever a coach or in charge of a team, I'd be the one where I'd always, if I was in the lead, I'd just want to be like, no, we're doing the same things over and over. You know, I will steal something that Dave Jameson has told me that Don Matthews used to say with the Eskimos at the time, which was he didn't care about his play sheets. He's like, yeah, I'll give the other teams my play sheets. They don't know what plays I'm going to call, and I'm still going to beat them. Like they could have my play sheets, and I'm still going to go beat them. I like that attitude. And when you're doing things like this, I don't feel like you have that cockiness and that arrogance of doesn't matter what you do, we're still going to beat you. This is one like we need to get in your head to beat you. And that's why I also think, like, I feel like to me, this is a sign from the Panthers that they know if there's a game 7, they're not winning a game 7.
They're not thinking of that.
You know what I mean by that, though.
I think they're getting ahead of themselves.
Like, I think maybe it's more that, like, they know that game 7 would be, this is their chance to win the cup. Otherwise, it makes it just a lot more difficult, which is obvious. But they want this one more.
I feel like how did their coach let this happen?
Because he's part of it, maybe?
I feel like he doesn't like any of that kind of stuff.
Well-
He didn't even want to shake the players' hands against Carolina, which I get, but
That's stupid.
I have a source at Carolina, and they all thought it was crazy. Like they're like, why would we not shake the coach's hands? Like
Yeah.
it was kind of,
Yeah.
it's a little bit weird, but
Jeffy actually texted about that, Pat. He says, the rink crew would probably move pretty quickly if you start firing pucks their way, and then says, when your coach is a sanctimonious keyword, your players follow suit.
fair. I don't know. This might change my whole decision on who I think is going to win tonight because of that.
I just think this gives Edmonton motivate. You just piss them off a little bit more.
Yeah.
You just piss them off a little bit
Yeah.
more. It's already high stakes. They should be bringing the game of their lives, and you just added to the fuel.
Yeah.
The flip side,
the
though,
fire.
to that, which I'll then agree with what Reid had to say, it's a fine line for the Oilers where you have to, if you're going to use this as motivation, you got to think about it a little bit, but you don't want to go too far. Because now if it can get you off your game where then the Panthers are in your heads.
No, but it just
I know, right,
Matthew,
but
it just sits in the team's collective mind and be, oh yeah, and you go out there and you shove it down their throats.
Right, but if you take it a little too far where it's like, oh yeah, and then you come out and you try to be game 3 Oilers and try to do a little too much and you take penalties early and the Panthers go on the power play and score a couple goals, they're now in your head. And that's where, like what was Reid saying there a little bit, that's where you have to be careful with the Oilers is that you use this as motivation, But maybe the Panthers are using this to try to get in the Oilers' head. And if the Oilers, you have to make sure you don't allow them to get in your head with this. And there is a line to that where you use this as motivation, but you can't allow it to then just be your focus.
No,
And it
you're not
can be.
dwelling on, but it's just another thing where if it helps you engage, is how I would describe it. And it gets you razor sharp because these guys disrespected you in the morning. Well, we're gonna shove it in your face tonight in the game, and it's not necessarily beating them up or taking stupid penalties. It's just thoroughly beating them in the game.
Do we mess with them when they come back if we take it down
Probably
today?
bad karma. Although I enjoyed the stories and the pulling of the fire alarm and all that, the hypothetical is great. I'll use this story. Listen, this is 10 levels below pro hockey, but in junior B, we had this guy on our team, Trevor Waggle, okay? And our rival was the Beverly Warriors. They suck. We hate them. We beat them every time, even though they were good. We were the Edmonton Red Wings. We shared Clairview Arena at the time. The fact that the Red Wings don't play at Clairview and Beverly does now embarrasses me. I hate it. It pisses me off. That's how much, 20 years after playing for them, I hate the Beverly Warriors, and they should not be playing at Clairview Arena. That's been refurbished and is really nice. That's beside the point. We were about to play them, I think, the next game, and we had a practice at Clairview, and so did they on the other sheet of ice. Their guys went into the locker room and then came on the bench while we were practicing. Trevor Waggle, if anybody out there is listening and knows him, knows this guy is a pure a-hole. But if he's on your team, you love him. He sees like two of their guys on our bench, starts taking pucks and firing them at their heads. And they start laughing. They think it's funny. And he goes, I'm serious, guys. I'm going to hit you in the head. And he fired like two more, and they scattered back and ran back. We remember that, and we beat the snot out of them the next game. It's those little things in hockey. And the reason why I bring this story up is because those types of things carry over in all levels of hockey. And that's what the Florida Panthers, to me, just did. With Verhaeghe going on the Oilers practice ice, shooting pucks, dinking around, the ice crew coming on, taking their sweet time to get the pegs in, one guy sitting in the net so nobody shoots it into the net. Like, those little things absolutely irk you if you are a competitive hockey player. So that's why I think it's bad juju on the Panthers for doing that.
I hate the Panthers now.
Just now? I'm getting fired up.
Just
This
now.
happened 20 years
Because
ago.
of this,
I'm like,
this has now made you
oh my
hate
God,
them.
I hate
I'm
the
so
Warriors.
mad right now. Yeah, this is the reason. Yeah.
Plus 130, the Oilers on the money line at Play Alberta for tonight's game. What do we have for EST specials? Early bird bet from Dusty. Oilers to win. McDavid 2 points. Draisaitl 2 points. That's plus 320.
Wow.
Dusty also has got Evander Kane with a point at plus 161. Jay's play of the day is already up. I'm going to leave that for the Reid Wilkins show with Jay Miller for him to announce. But people could go to the Play Alberta
I haven't
and see
even
it
looked
now.
at it yet.
It's plus 856. I'll just say
Holy
that.
crap.
So
Okay.
it's big odds for that one. Promo codes for the month of June with the Play Alberta and EST. EST Casino, when you deposit 20 or more and get a $50 casino bonus. EST Sports, when you deposit 20 more and get a $50 free bet. Or YEG 50 when you deposit 5 or more for a $50 free bet. Tommy will have the G-Seal Diesel Oil Stream pregame show for you live tonight, 5 o'clock. Hudson's White Ave. He will be at. Hearn and Cass is on.
Yep.
Perfect.
Game 7 at Ice House, by the way.
Oh, is it? I can't wait.
Nice.
5 till 6. They will be on all the Edmonton Sports Talk streams, audio channels, getting you set for that. 3 to 5 today, Reid Wilkins show with Jay Milne. We got EST afternoons. We got 2 guys in a goal. We also got the Lock Shop coming up in a little over an hour's time here at Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, which is presented by Play Alberta. We got Reid Wilkins, Pat Kehdy from the Canadian Brewhouse, Ice House, Plant Life, Ribeye, Tesoro. That's it.
The banquet?
Banquet.
Yeah, the
I guess
banquet.
we haven't mentioned
I'm
banquet.
asking the question.
you
It's
sure?
like, yeah, I just read what's on the teleprompter.
Tommy, Benny, and Matt with you here on the Hangout. It is Game 6 tonight. Skinner looking to get the start in net. What do you guys? Where's your confidence? Oh, Toronto Argonauts just signed Kevin Brown. Where's your confidence in Skinner's coming back into this? Because, like, look, he didn't leave this series and not played last game because of a poor performance. It was more the team got played poor in front of him. He got pulled. Pickard then played extremely well. He got the win. He gets that next game. What are you guys expecting a little bit with Skinner from tonight, Pat? Like, you're worried about the goaltending. You said you
I am
wanted something
worried.
at the deadline. But Skinner has anytime he's come back after sitting a game, he does pretty well.
Listen, I just want to win. So whatever way and the best chance possible for the Oilers to win. And if the Knobloch thinks that this is the play, Skinner has done a lot of stuff for us, but he's also has that amazing stat that we all know and every single fan knows. It's the same old Skinner. First shot on net, goal. 1 of 3 shots on net, goal. That can't happen. If the first period we go out there and Skinner stands on his head, every single Oiler fan is gonna flip that switch and be like, "We love Skinner." I will be one of those guys. All right, but then as soon as something bad happens, I can't. He gets in my own kitchen. He gets in my kitchen.
Skinner gets in your own kitchen.
Skinner
Is
gets
he
in my
making a big
kitchen.
40-ounce steak too?
No, he's making donairs, the old sweet sauce. I'm
yeah.
gonna give my mom a plug, Mina's donair in Beaumont. But he gets in my kitchen, and nobody gets in my kitchen. Usually, I'm the one that's making everything in my kitchen. But I feel like Skinner deserves this opportunity because if he does win tonight, he is a hero. He got the Oilers to Game 7. When was the last time a Canadian team has played a Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup in Canada? Right? Montreal was it? Did it even go 7?
87.
87.
I think.
Thank you, Reid. I don't know those stats.
That would have been Oilers Flyers.
Yeah, because Calgary was in Tampa Bay, Edmonton was in Carolina and Florida.
Vancouver.
Oh yeah, Vancouver hosted
Vancouver.
Boston.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Ben.
And Brad Marchand and the Bruins won that
It
game.
wasn't 4-0.
So, like,
And then
it's
there was a riot.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm a big fan of riots, so I'm a big fan of them winning on Friday.
Excuse me?
What? Hang on, let's strike that.
You're a
as
big
record.
fan of
Let's
riots.
not promote that
I'm
one.
just kidding. We're not. But it's I don't know. I hope Skinner does it. I feel bad. I know somebody that knows him, and his family does get berated a lot. It's like the Horkoff thing, right? Where Horkoff's wife used to get beaked at Safeway and Save on Foods. I feel like
Yeah,
Skinner's.
that's not good.
I feel like
Yeah,
Skinner's
that's not
wife
good.
gets and family get the short end of the stick, and I really want Skinner to show up, but I really hope that he takes us to Game 7. That's all we ask for. If you ask the Oilers, you're going to go to Stanley Cup Final Game 6, and you're 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the season, like they said this morning. You're going to take that all day.
Yep.
Right. So, I hope Skinner proves the entire city wrong.
I think he gives them their best chance to win tonight over Pickard. They tried the Pickard magic. It wasn't there.
Yeah, it was there for a little bit this year, and
Sure.
he lit it up.
Yeah.
But it's a good story. 50. They share their best friends. They share the playoffs. They share the Stanley Cup. But we just hope that he actually, Stuart Skinner actually shows up.
Well, that'd be amazing if Jeff Skinner scored too.
That would actually.
I mean,
be
now
nice.
he's a regular in the lineup.
Isn't that crazy?
Look at him.
Yeah.
Is this 3 games
Yeah,
in a
how
row?
have you guys not
it's
even
just
chosen
3
him?
games.
What's his odds to get a point or to score a
I
goal?
don't
me
even
see.
think that most odds makers know that he's playing tonight.
So is it the any other player bet?
Yeah.
Is that
Or
what
a
it is?
field bet?
That'd be nice for Jeff Skinner to do something, especially for us. It'd be
He can have
wicked.
his Peter Klima moment.
Hey,
Yeah.
still talking about Peter Klima.
Yes, we are. Rest his soul.
Yeah, still
Oh
talking
yeah, he
about
passed
him.
away. That's
Passed
right.
away,
Yeah.
I think a year or two ago.
How funny is that, Jeff Skinner? I played 4 playoff games. I scored the game winner, Game 6, brought Edmonton home. They won the cup. I'm retiring.
That's the stuff legends are made of.
It is.
He's
Jeff's-
made $100 million over his career, by the way.
On Play Alberta for Jeff Skinner to get a goal, it is plus 648.
That's the Pat Kehdy EST bet of the day.
Yeah, geez.
Just so you guys
Adam
know.
Henrique is
Add
plus
it.
723, as is Matthias Ekholm. Trent Frederick is plus 1086. If you want just a point, can I get him for just a point here?
Skinner's
Jeff
the
Skinner
bet.
at a point tonight is plus 280.
Can you parlay that? That's what I would
don't
do.
Little
think you
sprinkle
can.
patty?
Yeah.
Little
I
sprinkle
don't
on Play
believe you
Alberta?
would be able to do
sprinkle
that
it.
one.
I'm going to sprinkle it. I
Yeah.
don't even have a Play Alberta account, but I will get one.
Now's the time.
EST Casino, EST Sports, or YEG 50. You get all those
Oh,
promo
perfect.
codes.
I like that.
Jay texts me. He's a co-host with Reid over there. Did Pat just say his mom owns Mina's Donair in Beaumont?
Yes.
Best Donair going.
Oh, I
Love
like that.
place.
Thanks, Jay. I love
So
that.
he didn't know that.
My mom is a saint. I love that woman. Yeah.
So glad we got.
She also, the crazy thing about her is she will remember your Donair order. You go there today, and then you show up a month later, She'll remember your donair order.
Regular
nice.
with cheese.
That must have been tough growing up. Where would she like? Was that like if you did something wrong, she'd remember it all?
No, or
Or is it just
we're
the
like,
bears?
the best thing about growing up is we came over from Lebanon, and my mom was a French teacher in Beaumont, and we came over with nothing. So my parents always like treated me like gold, and my brother was born, and then they didn't care about me, but they let us get away. They let us get away with anything. I'm gonna talk drugs here. Growing up, I had a bag of, it's legal now, but I had a bag of marijuana. She found it, or a bag of mushrooms, and she found it, and she sat me down and yelled at me in Lebanese for an hour about how I can't smoke weed. and then she's like, I'm throwing this out. I took it. I'm like, I can't even argue with this woman. Like, she's screaming at me. She gives it to my friend's mom. She calls me and she's like, hey, come get your bag of mushrooms. Your mom thinks it's weed. So my parents are straight old school Lebanese. You know,
Wow.
I know we talk about your mom,
Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah.
You meet my parents and they're the most chill. They don't even, I bet you they don't even know what weed looks like, you know, or mushrooms look like. For a while there, my mom thought I did like hard drugs, and I had to remind her that when you do hard drugs, you get skinny. And she's like, well, and now we joke around about it. And I'm like, Mom, like, you know, I'd love to do that. I'd be way skinnier, you know? So, but no, my mom memorizes everything. She lets us get away with murder. She's now a big time Tata. She treats Jet like gold, and she doesn't care about me or Jer.
I was worried that mushroom story was going to be like, you have to eat this entire bag. That's super
No,
Oh boy.
no. And now fast forward now, she doesn't even like that. She's just like, oh yeah, Pat works at Plant Life. Yeah. And they sell these gummies that look like penises.
Oh,
All right. They do. And my mom's like, can you get me some of these from Ian? I want to give them to my friends as a joke present. So my mom goes from hating drugs to
distributing them.
To giving them as gifts.
slanging them as presents and selling donairs. So
You know what? Amazing.
it's old school Leb family, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm undercover Leb. I'm the whitest Leb you'll see.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Any other thoughts you guys have on this game tonight?
That's all I think about.
So what is your next
That's all
thought?
I've thought about for the last 2 months is the
What-
Oilers playoffs.
Well, what's the
and
next
what I'm
thought
gonna
you have
talk
for this
about them.
game?
You know, for game 6 and 7 at the moment, gentlemen, we live in a world of infinite possibilities.
Can you go through all of them for the next hour?
So,
just slowly
this
break
is-
down every possibility that we can
I'd
for
like
the
them
next
ranked.
hour.
I'd like them ranked.
This has crossed my mind as a possibility.
Kate,
That the Oilers win tonight in overtime and game 7 in overtime. That they do not that they win the Stanley Cup without beating the Florida Panthers in regulation time. And that at the end of the series, we in the hockey world are saying the Florida Panthers are clearly a better team than the Edmonton Oilers, but they couldn't beat them 4 times in 7 games. Because the one thing about this Oilers team is this year, they are drama kings. I mean, look how many games they won in overtime in the regular season. Look how many games they tied late in the third period or relatively. I mean, even going back to their first win of the year against Philadelphia, wasn't that the first win? They scored late and they scored in the last 5 minutes of the third, and Draisaitl scored in overtime. I remember that. I can't remember what it was, but they had those back-to-back games. I don't know if they were back-to-back nights, but they St. Louis and Chicago, and they didn't play overly well in either game, and they won in overtime.
Yeah.
And now even look in the postseason. I mean, 5-1 in overtime. That's not 93 Canadians, which is another level. But you have to win in overtime, or win in unusual ways to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, even good teams get a break or two along the way, or do something, might have something crazy go their way to win the Stanley Cup. So that's crossed my mind. I know kind of the last couple of days I've kind of been acting like, well, it's dire straits for Edmonton. I'm not sure they can win. But if you want me to explore all the infinite possibilities that exist, wouldn't that be something? Two consecutive overtime.
Are you divorce right now?
Well, I'm peering into it, Tom. I'm
respect
certainly
that.
peering into it.
It is a narrative, though, that's been around this team for a while, is that they love their backs against the wall and they like doing things in the more difficult way. And what's more difficult than being down 3-2 in a series going to Florida, getting the win after he outplayed 7 of the last 9 periods. Is that the way you were saying it?
Yeah.
And then coming back home and getting the victory. Now, the only way to make this even more backs against the wall, they're going to tie the game with the goalie pulled with a minute left in the third period to force overtime. That it's going to get that dire. Where the season is almost over.
I don't know if I can handle that.
And then they score. No. Bouchard gets his goal, and we go to overtime, and then Reid's his universe takes off from there.
I think Jeff Skinner just gets the empty netter, and everyone wins their Pat Kehdy special on the EST bet.
Well, I don't know if he's out protecting a lead. Maybe
we got to change something up.
Maybe it's a 2 or 3 goal lead.
I'll say, I just have a feeling that tonight the Oilers are going to be going into the first intermission up 2-3-0. They're going to come out and get a couple.
You've been saying that every game.
I have not been.
You've been predicting a Bobrovsky pull every game.
I only did that once last game.
And it didn't happen.
That's a nice
that one
scenario.
did not happen. I did
That
not.
would be lovely,
I didn't like the way
What if he does
I
get
thought
pulled?
because even you looked at me at one point. You're like, just fire shots on Bobrovsky, because there was a little he was a little off to start that. And there was a couple moments where you're like, I don't. And then they just didn't beat him. Then you called the shutout, and it worked. But I have not called the Bobrovsky pull every game.
Okay, my mistake.
That was last game. I did point to him and I said to you, getting pulled tonight.
What if this scenario happens? Kane just runs Bobrovsky.
Oh, jeez.
What's the worst that he can get? A 5-minute, is there a
he
max
get kicked
penalty?
out.
He gets suspended.
And he could get
Suspended
suspended
for-
for one more game after.
Yeah.
There's only 2 games left.
The penalty kill's awful, though, Pat. We have to remind ourselves of that.
We're just thinking scenarios here. I
That's a
thought we're
scenario.
just throwing scenarios.
Well,
here.
I think the other thing is if you go and relate last game to just if the Oilers just find one power play goal, how different is that hockey game? It's a 2-1 hockey game midway through the second.
Or if
Does that change the momentum? Does that give the Oilers that bump where then they don't lose the rest of the second period and don't lose the third period? Do they go win those 2 periods? And we're talking about the Oilers looking to try to clinch the cup tonight. Like I look at special teams largely tonight and go, when you get your opportunity, because the Panthers are going to give you an opportunity. Mm-hmm. How they play, you've got to capitalize against that very good penalty kill of the Florida Panthers. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say I just don't even know if we can kill a penalty right now.
That's valid, although they went 2 for 2 the other night. But
Sure, but I don't.
They
know
leaked
these
a
stats.
goal
What
or
are they
2.
on this whole series or playoffs?
it's
Not good.
They're 60.
Yeah, they're under 70, I think.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Yeah,
Very bad.
yeah.
Norman at Combine wants to know the name of your mom's donair shop because he's going to Leduc today and will detour. I said Mayna's Donair in Beaumont.
Yep.
He says he's on his way there later on. Bronco Nick says Florida Panthers equal Cobra Kai. The Edmonton Oilers equal Miyagi Dojo.
Nice.
But doesn't Miyagi Dojo turn into Cobra Kai?
Does it?
I
don't know.
For
I haven't
anyone
followed.
In that series?
I think it turns into it, which is great. Maybe we have to turn to it now and get into the Cobra Kai stuff.
Become champions?
Yes.
Wax on.
Wax on, wax off.
Collingwood Rob says, Tommy's right. Hockey gods work in mysterious ways. Decades ago, we were in playoffs playing the best team in the league. They high stick our best D-man, knocked his teeth out, blood everywhere with no call. The other team laughed at us, and they skated off for the first intermission. We came out, kicked their ass, won the best of 5 series. We got poetic justice in the handshake line and had the last laugh winning the championship. That stuff does happen, man. Hockey's funny like that. And that's why I brought it up. And then JJ Jakubek says, Paul Maurice is Wally Course, coach and owner of the Red Wings. We all have some good Wally stories. A quick one. We were in Grand Prairie for provincials, and we were playing really bad. And there was a garbage can in the middle of the locker room. And Wally was yelling at us, and then he booted the garbage can for effect. It didn't budge. He limped out, and after the game, we're like, Wally, what was like? Because we're the older guys on the team. Wally's good speech and everything didn't really help. We played like crap. Are you okay? He goes, broke my damn toe. It was cemented in. It was cemented.
It was an immovable can.
It was cemented into the middle of the locker room.
Oh, wow.
Broke his toe.
That's just.
I love Wally.
You gotta
Hated
expect,
him when
you
I
gotta
was a
expect
player.
coaches kicking garbage cans like in
Yeah.
dressing rooms nowadays.
Yeah. No, he
I
was.
witnessed my fair share.
If I coached me, I'd probably be yelling at
Yep.
me a lot too.
Yep.
So, but
It's
Wally's a
warranted.
great man.
Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, highproductmarketing.com. Weirdly enough, as we're talking about this, NHLPR did release or publish that it's been 61 years since a Canadian team won Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final to force a Game 7 on Canadian soil.
Well, that's very specific. So the Canadian team won Game 6.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
On the road.
But they also say the only Stanley Cup Final Game 7s played in Canada were 42, 64 in Toronto, 65 in Montreal, 87 in Edmonton, and 11 in Vancouver. So it's been 61 years since a Canadian team won Game 6. I see. Yeah.
Right.
So that would have been the
Not
Leafs.
just...
So that would have been...
Yeah, but I was thinking but the Canucks just had that. But it was because the Bruins won it to send it back here. So, 1961, last time a Canadian team won Game 6 to force a Game 7 back on Canadian soil.
And then didn't Chicago win in 61 though?
64.
Well, 42, 64 in Toronto, 1965 in Montreal, 87 in Edmonton, and 2011 in Vancouver. Draisaitl was at the podium. Quote, "We still haven't seen our best." He added that tonight would be a good time for their best to come for obvious reasons, and wants to see there be a better start than the last few games when they're chasing early. But I think we can all agree on that one. And it is official. The Oilers will start Skinner in Game 6. Yeah, we need some breaking news. Now's a good time for the best to come.
Oilers need to play well tonight. No way.
So what Stanley Cup Final was that?
Let me get it back to it.
64.
Okay. So it's 42, 64 in Toronto, 65 in Montreal. So we said 61 years. So 64. Jay says 4 of those 6 teams went on to win the Stanley Cup back home in Edmonton.
So Toronto beat Detroit 4-3 in overtime in Game 6 and then won the Stanley Cup 4-0 at home in 64.
Was that the same? No, that wasn't the same series that the reverse.
No, that was in the 40s.
Yeah,
that was during the Second World War.
Right.
I love how the Leafs always just find their way into Edmonton news, hey? It's like, we're going to do what the Leafs did. Yeah.
Well, it is interesting here because, like, in these playoffs, there is the situation where the Panthers had the lead going home, could close out a series, and couldn't get it done, and had to go win it on the road. And it did just happen a couple of rounds ago with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
So, if you're the Oilers, I think you're looking at that a little bit going, this team's beatable in Game 6 on home ice when they have a chance to close out a series. We're better than those Leafs. Let's go do this.
If we lose tonight, we blame the Leafs, though, because the Leafs should have taken out Florida this year, right? Like, I feel like that's the main...
They did take them to 7.
Weren't the Leafs up?
Yeah,
2-0.
2-0.
Right?
Couldn't finish it off.
So I'm just saying I will be texting all my Leaf friends if the Oilers lose tonight and blame them. So
they had it. This is so much more boring what I'm about to say, but I really like the Oilers lines tonight.
That's very boring.
Why do you like them?
No,
I think if the Oilers are going to be a successful team, they need their guys that are usual contributors to be contributing. AKA number 91 that's been playing on the fourth line the past couple of games and was taking stupid penalties. I think if they're going to win tonight, he needs to play a big factor. I think Kapanen, we need to see Kapanen from when he first got inserted in the lineup early in the playoffs. That third line of Frederick, Henrique, and Skinner had a very good Game 4, I thought. That needs to come back. Like I just think if they were going to go into Game 6 with Kane on the fourth line again, and then you still have Stetcher in and stuff, I just felt like to me that was just all jumbled lines that just it just wasn't clicking, and the Oilers they needed a shake up. If they're gonna win tonight, I think they needed to go their best suited. Okay, what has worked for us at the best, the longest? These are the lines, and honestly, those are the. Honestly, I don't think I would make a single change to those lines. But that's how I would have them laid out. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of just where I thought. I like the Klingberg coming in for Stetcher too. I think it makes sense. I think when he's playing at his best, he makes breakout passes, which could help that forecheck. But I don't know.
Maybe boring is the way to go. Maybe they had to go and just be like, you know what? There's only 2 games left in the season. Let's just be boring today. And maybe it works. Maybe it works. Doesn't have to be extreme. I don't know.
Whatever works at this point, Patrick.
I came into this meeting. I came into this.
You can call it a meeting. Put it in your work calendar as a meeting.
Thinking the Oilers were not going to win, and then I feel like I got convinced by all of you.
You're feeling better.
I feel a lot better. I might just sprinkle some Jeff Skinner goals. Point. Love.
He's still on that. That's what we do at this station.
Yeah, you convince us that we're gonna win, and you make me gamble.
Yeah.
My favorite.
You were gonna do it anyway.
I kind of want to bet Florida tonight, just to have that.
You want the hedge?
I kind of want the
You
hedge.
want the hedge.
I might.
Where it's if the Oilers lose, okay, at least I got
least
some
I want
cash
some
coming
money.
in.
And then and then if the Oilers win, it'd be like I paid for the Oilers to go to Game 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's you could look at it as you paid. Yeah, you spent $50
And then
or
I'll be
whatever.
expecting a check in the mail from Kate's.
Well, we're
But the only problem is Panthers are minus 167 on the money line. So
you have to get them by 2. I think if they're gonna beat us, they're gonna beat
to
us.
make
by 2.
any money, like you're gonna have to put a little bit of dough on that. But I guess if you could no iced coffee tomorrow.
Yep.
Put that on
Yep.
the Panthers instead.
Yep.
There you go. That's just how some people could look at it. I do love the fan hedge bet because it is just something that a lot of people go do. I've done that before. I do that with Manchester United a lot.
Either way, you're happy. Well,
That one I was just angry. I still was angry. I got money, but I was angry.
I'd be happier if the Oilers won instead of me making money, but it just helps the blow.
We at the Brewhouse Plant Life Banquet, Tesoro Ribeye, all those places. We have this saying: we cheer for Canadian teams, overtimes, and Game 7s. And we have a Canadian team. We have a lot of overtime, and all we need is a potential Game 7. So we've said that since I started with the company 10 years ago. This is what we cheer for. The more Canadian teams, the busier we are. The more periods, the busier we are. The more games, the busier we are. So maybe it's just meant to be. Maybe it is the old. Maybe it is meant to be.
Well, and this just falls into the entire Reid universe he's laid out for us.
He has.
Oilers in overtime tonight.
Yeah.
Oilers in overtime on games. Actually, you want to know something? I don't know who it was. Somebody put out there. I don't think this was Jay.
Belsey.
Was it Belsey?
I
Belsey,
was
you know
just
where
about
I'm
to
going
bring
with
out-
this
I was
one.
just about to bring out.
He threw out with the Oilers. Would you rather the Oilers win?
in 6.
Was it in 6?
Yeah, he said, would you rather the Oilers win in Florida, Game 6, where the celebration is like cool, but it's not in here in Edmonton,
or Game 7 in double overtime?
But
It's coming. I'm adding to yours. It's double overtime on Friday.
But he's throwing out scenarios in which the fan knows who's going to
Yeah.
win. So to me,
they can't win in Game 6.
To me, the scenario would have been: would you sooner the Oilers win the cup in Game 6, or Game 7 goes to overtime and you don't know who's going to win, but it might be an Oilers home ice win?
But that's like, so everyone was saying Game 6 though. I agree. Your question is more fair because like if I got the pick, I'd want to see the Oilers win at home in Game 7, like just for the drama and the legacy and everything. But like, still, everyone was going Game 6. I don't understand it. Like, why not have?
Because they don't want the emotion ride that they know their heart's gonna have to
fan
endure,
base-
even though you know it's gonna happen.
That's the fun part.
But that's why it's like Belsey threw out the two scenarios and one can't happen, so it's gonna be the other. Double overtime Friday.
And
Edmonton loses it.
Patty's
loses it in the city. Like everyone's
Not the
losing
game.
their minds,
Right.
not the game. Yeah.
Patty's laughing because I just said to Benny, this fan base has been beaten to a pulp. you were in your formative years when this team sucked so bad.
I was alive for the Decade of Darkness.
Yeah, you were alive, but like you didn't get it. Everything that the fan base went through in the mid '90s after the glory years, and then they got a little taste of some special moments in the late '90s, early 2000s, and then they get to the Cup Final, heartbreaking Game 7, and then just absolute crap hockey for the next decade and a bit.
My age group did not get to celebrate Oilers playoffs in their 20s.
Yeah,
They didn't get to go.
Yeah.
It was that for the majority of the 20s.
Yeah.
People of my age in their 20s, they did not go to the bars or anything for an Oiler playoff game.
So for you, you're
It came
21?
late.
22.
22. So since 2017, that's the last 8 years, the Oilers have been to the playoffs, 6-7 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for a good chunk of your life, they've been a playoff team.
Yeah.
And you're getting to do it at the fun years.
Yeah.
Where you get to go to bars or
I know.
whatever and drink and all of that.
I'm well aware.
And there is a portion of an age group where we got none of that.
This is like perfect age for me for the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup. I'm well aware. Like being 22, be able to go out bars. I don't have as much responsibility as I would in the next couple of years and stuff. Like I'm well aware this is like the time.
But that's why older fans
100%.
are like, we will take the Game 6 win because they have been through the absolute crap of all crap.
I will just take a Stanley Cup win. I don't care what game it is.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
But
so-
if it can't be 4, then as
What a great
fans,
way
we're
for
going to
7.
be Game 5. Yeah. Then if it's not 5, we're going to say 6. And now look where we are. Game 7, the storybook ending.
Whatever
the only
kid
way,
dreams
You know,
of.
everybody dreams the old scoring the game winner in Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup Final. Yeah, it's the thing is that we did a watch party when they clinched against Dallas, and all the boys are there, Jets and his hockey buddies, and with the dads were looking at each other and been like, imagine being these kids. They don't know anything better. They watched the Oilers win go to the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back years. Before that, they made the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
My kid doesn't know anything better than the Oilers making the playoffs, and we're sitting here being like, we watched them not make the playoffs for a full 20 years to 15 years
Reid
or whatever.
and I were, and Matthew too, we'd be at the rink in like mid-November and the team has won 1 game in its last 10 and you're like, well, this season's over.
I was booking draft guests already.
Yeah,
Like, that's where it's like,
exactly.
hey, who are the draft guests this year? So we can talk about first overall picks and stuff. But it's the same. Like, imagine being just like an 8, 9, 10-year-old in the 80s.
Yeah.
And you're growing up through those years, and you think this is the greatest thing ever.
And then you have your own kids and you can't even watch a playoff
And
game.
well, there's that. Actually, that's a good. Like, it gets a little more difficult. The Oilers have had their franchise has had a real ups and downs.
Yeah.
As a franchise, that is it's quite something else. EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider. Find a convenient location nearest you. Check them out, sentinel.ca. I do want to get to play Alberta's over or under, which, by the way, tonight's game, the over and under, it is, click the Yankees, Angels by accident there. Lost yesterday
Yankees.
to the Angels.
I love them.
I know you do. Something we share in common right there. Tonight's game 6.5. I think it's been over. Well, it has been over every single game. I'm going to go over under. 1.5 goals. The Oilers scored in the first period today. What do you guys think? This is for Play Alberta. Download the app today or head to playalberta.ca. Click on EST specials for all the specials we threw up there. It's at 1.5 goals for the Oilers in the first period.
I'll go under today. I'll be that guy. Under. That just because that's how I feel. You guys.
I
the Oilers
don't
slow
feel any
start.
other way. I'm saying under as well. They've never.
Slow start. Slower.
Yeah, I'm going to say under too.
Yeah,
Under. I just think eventually we're gonna have a 2-1 or 3-2 game in this series. That's gonna be tight checking and careful.
Oh, that's Friday.
Reid, we think the same.
That'll be.
So you guys are all
Friday,
going under.
I wanted
In
to
the
be,
first
I wanted
period,
to be the guy
Oilers
that went
over.
under compared to everyone else. I think today was gonna be like a 2-1 or a 3-2 game, but Reid stole.
Yeah, I said earlier I think the Oilers get 2 or 3 in the first, so I'm absolutely taking the over. It could still
hope
be
you're
a
right.
2. It's going to be like it could. They won't even. It'll be 3-0. Final score. Oilers win. All 3 goals coming in the first period.
You better hit some plywood.
Shredding it easy.
Did you dabble in the Plant Life bag that I brought you? Yeah.
Oh, there's some goodies here.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's in there. They just
But
I always have goodies. You know that. I
know
always
you
got
always
goodies.
have goodies.
It's just I don't know. I've seen it many times in the last number of years, but especially like even in these playoffs where this team gets counted out, this team or like it's viewed that it's just not going to go, and then they bring out their best. And I think this is like what were games 5 and 6 last year?
8-1, and then like
Game 4 was 8-1.
oh, yeah,
Game 4,
sorry.
okay. Game 4 was 8-1. Game 6 then was a
It
big
was
5-1.
5-1. Game 5 was 5-3 with the McDavid 4 points.
So the Panthers had their big games against the Oilers already. The Oilers have yet to have their big game against the Panthers, in my mind.
Maybe they
And-
won't have one.
and maybe they don't. But I just
Possible.
I find it with the Connor and the Leon led team. I just feel like there is that blow up coming where they're just gonna put it up, and that doesn't go to me saying 3-0 final, but I think in the first period that happens, and then they play that great defense that we've seen in other series like Dallas, like Vegas where they shut it down and Skinner is just a wall and nothing's getting past him. And the Oilers drag this to game 7. That like anytime it seems down and out, like seems like they do it. And there's been many times at games this year where we're going into the third period. It's like, oh, this team is looking at it. I've just been like, no, they're going to find a way. And, game 4 against the Kings, Byfield doesn't clear it out. They score, and this run happens since. So, I don't know. The gut is telling me that this is a good night coming for the Edmonton Oilers. That's just what
I hope so.
Well, that's good, Matthew.
So I'll take that. Thank you, Reid. I appreciate that. I do want to quickly, I did say I had just a few minutes on this. I do want to quickly, you read your text.
Oh, okay. Lacombe Drew, in regard to like the generations of Oilers fans and different experiences. And he goes, but we did get to go to the bars for draft lotteries. Yeah. So sad, but so true.
Yeah.
The McDavid one was packed. I remember being a GM at Ellerslie, and when we got that one, and the bar was packed, and it went crazy like we won a game. So yeah, I do remember that draft here. He's right.
But that was like after the Hall draft, the Nugent Hopkins draft, the Yakupov. By then, it's like, okay, you got this like legit generational player. Yeah.
Imagine him sliding on the ice, scoring game winner tonight.
You can do it in Russia, Patty. Raider Jesse says 40-year-olds have it the worst. No memory before age 5. I remember 1992. That's a lot of heartbreak. I'm 39, and I vaguely remember my dad taking me to the Cup parade in 90.
Oh, wow.
Sitting on his shoulders. I think it was at Commonwealth where we went to. But that, like, I don't remember them playing. I didn't know Gretzky played for the Oilers because I remember in like 92 or 93 getting mad watching a game, and I'm like, stupid Gretzky, he always beats the Oilers. And my dad's like, what's wrong with you? You loved Gretzky when you were a kid. And I was like, still a kid, but I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Gretzky played for the Oilers. Dumb. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. So Raider Jesse, I get it.
Do you, and I know now I'm talking crazy, but are both Stanley Cup parades already planned, do you think? Like by the cities?
I would assume
I think
so.
they
Right?
probably have
They
something ready.
right?
There would have to be some sort of plans, I would think, in place because you'd like, okay, this is how we're going to execute this.
Yeah.
Because usually parades are 2-3 days after.
Yeah.
I would just assume, and that's not a jinxing thing, but
Yeah,
when it
I
comes
just
to
a
the
real
planning
question.
of getting everything that you need,
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's some people within the Oilers in the city that have already had the conversations of what if, okay, this is what we need, this is how we'll do it, this is what we can try to, or these are the options we can go with. There's plan A, B, C, and we'll see what works should we win the cup.
I blame those people if we don't win because they already planned the parade. So
That's fair.
the people that are literally planning the parade.
The civic planners.
I blame them.
Yeah.
If we lose tonight.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those, like, I'll say this. If the Oilers were to win tonight, I will have to try to see if I can flesh out any details on that so we can plan for it. Not to bring on air, not to say it once on air.
for sure.
Right.
But, like, hey, if there's a parade, Edmonton Sports Talk wants to be there. Edmonton Sports Talk wants to cover it in some way.
Yeah.
And that it would be nice to get a little bit of heads up of, okay, how could we go about doing this? What is going to happen? And what can we do? That if there is a potential of the Game 7, like we had a night, like we heard last year, maybe Ledge, maybe Commonwealth was where the parade could be. Like that's the stuff you kind of just need to know to be ready to go, but not stuff to ever bring on the air. Like if the Oilers win tonight, so I'm like, well, the parade, guys. So this is what we've heard.
Yeah.
This is how it's. No, you don't do that, but there has to be some sort of planning. And figuring out money and all of that.
Yeah.
And okay, who's paying for the police? Who's going to pay the overtime of the police and all of that stuff? That all would have to come with that.
LeDuc Aaron Texan says, Ken confirm, work for a rental company, and I was asked to quote out equipment for the parade. There you go. Thanks, LeDuc Aaron. And that's just logistically.
Well, they have
For
to
sure.
have
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah,
ready
you have
to
to have
go.
the stuff that you
Can't
need
do it
for
last
it.
minute.
And so it's. But Patty's going to be mad at those people.
I'm definitely blaming them if we lose tonight.
And that's fine. You need to.
That's a fact. Yeah,
somehow,
Yeah, I got to blame somebody.
DB says, I was at Boston Pizza Westgate for the McDavid Gold Card draft. Nice. Shout out to Tony and Curtis.
Well, for the.
Do you remember how? Now I was not. No, I wasn't doing on the Oilers beat at all. I wasn't doing even producing Bob's show yet. But I remember when the Oilers won the Taylor Hall draft lottery, or maybe it was when. No, it might have been when they actually drafted him. Yeah, because I guess there was still that Tyler thing.
Yeah.
I remember they drafted him. Well, first of all, when they had the first overall pick, the Oilers marketed that so much. Like, do you remember the billboards with the historic first overall pick, the Oilers select and then blank. And then I think that's what Tambellini said at the podium. I think he even said historic because at that time the Oilers were like, we're never going to be last again. This will be the guy that'll turn it around. Of course, we're going to build around this guy. And then I remember watching the draft, and then I watched, maybe half the first round or whatever. And then I was driving somewhere, and I saw a guy, like probably in his 20s, with a Hall 10 jersey. Like he didn't even have a 4 on it,
Right.
Because I don't know if they knew what number he was going to wear.
No, they didn't.
Because you also didn't know if he could wear number
You
4.
had to ask Kevin Lowe.
So it was like so much. Like, think about that guy. Like, he got this, probably spent $200 on whatever jerseys were there to get like a Hall 10. And it was really only relevant to wear that day. I assume he kept wearing it. But there was so much hype around that Hall draft, right? That it was like, we're never going to be this bad again,
Oh, they were.
And then they obviously were continuing to draft first overall. And then it kind of got like, they couldn't really make it as exciting. From a team. So like I get it. If you have that first overall pick, okay, let's market this. Let's make it a thing. Let's try to get some excitement out of being bad. At least we're getting this guy. And then they kept picking first overall. But then the McDavid one, that was different because he was so good coming in.
With the historic first selection, I just listened to it.
You listened to the Tambellini
He just
picking
said it.
Hall?
This is on TSN, and like James Duthie's there, and man, James looks young and stuff. And I don't know if
We were all younger
there
than
he-
Matthew.
Well, look at that. Look at that hairdo.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, and Tambellini shouted out Rexall Place because they had the watch party there. And,
Oh, did they have a watch party in the ring?
and
I
they had
don't
the
remember
picture of it. But yeah, he goes with the historic
Were
first.
you
overall
working
pick.
there?
That was right before I got hired there.
Okay.
I was like in negotiation or whatever
Okay.
with them.
I was at 1260 at that time. That was the start of my full time at 1260.
Yeah.
Taylor Hall being drafted.
We all drank that juice though. The Hall, Nuge, Yakupov. Like as an Oiler fan, I didn't even know any of you guys back then, but as an Oiler fan, I was like, "We're gonna win the cup."
Hope.
Well,
We're gonna
historically,
win.
they
We're
did
gonna win.
help.
Did it?
Well, like first overall picks.
Oh,
Generally
yes.
prior,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you looked at what
Yeah.
teams would get,
Yes.
and you're like, well,
Yeah.
these players made differences for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah. And if we take, it was Tyler Sagan or Taylor Hall? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we
Because I
take-
remember they brought both to the city. I was at the Sagan one. It was at one of the hotels downtown at the top where there was a big interview with him.
Like, do we even get Connor if we have Sagan? If we draft
Yeah,
Sagan?
a full butterfly effect belief for me in that stuff. Everything that happened led to Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Dallas Aikens led to Connor McDavid. I will rip
no.
Dallas Aikens for a lot, but in the end, if it wasn't for Dallas Aikens being the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers and launching the swarm defense, the Oilers may not have Connor McDavid.
Yeah, who knows? Well, and then Nelson
Bring him to the
coached.
parade.
Yeah, and then Nelson coached them into 28th.
Yes.
Which turned out to be the perfect spot.
Yeah, hey, Craig McTavish fired Dallas Aikens at the perfect point. The exact perfect
Yeah.
point. There wasn't a point more or less. He got him at the right time. And bring them all out. Bring everyone back. Bring Ralph Kruger back. Bring them all for the parade if it happens. Bring Tom Rennie out. Bring them all.
They all deserve it.
If the Connor wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for all these people.
all these 24 people.
Yeah.
Hey.
I love those stories of just like how everything had to fall in the perfect place. Like I like the Connor Bedard one where Pittsburgh loses to Chicago in the last game of the year, gets eliminated from the playoffs. Florida sneaks in because of it. Because Chicago wins the game, they move up a spot, win the draft lottery because of it. Florida, that starts their
Cup run.
Yeah.
cup run. Like
There was Patty Kane with the Oilers, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
If
Oilers
they-
won
yeah.
their last game.
no.
Or else they would have got.
They would have been in the spot
Didn't
Chicago
somebody-
was jump up to get Patty Kane.
Who's the guy? I can't believe who's the guy that missed the empty net for Dallas?
Patrick Steffen.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody trace the Oilers getting McDavid back to that? I thought I saw
thought
that.
I saw that too.
Thought I had somebody online. Who
That's
knows how
insane.
That was a
accurate it
great
was?
game.
yeah.
But I mean, you can what if all this
That
stuff.
was, were you at that?
Oh, you were
game?
at that
was
game?
insane.
Dallas still won the game, right? That's
Oh,
what
yeah,
a lot of
they
people
won.
forget.
It went to overtime
Yeah.
and then they won, and then
Yeah, we
overtime.
lost
if I'm not
the
mistaken.
The Gretzky trade tree ended like 30 years
Yeah,
after the
finally.
deal.
Yeah.
Finally ended. I can't remember who the last player was, but you're just like, oh my god.
Well, didn't somebody trace the Oilers signing Pronger to that, or trading for Pronger somehow? Because what was it? They signed Pekka, but they traded for Pronger.
Yes, and there's I think
no,
part
they
of the
traded for
problem.
both of those guys actually.
But was Pekka a trade
yeah,
anyway?
Mike York.
I think there was a part of the Pronger trade, like that one of the pieces was connected to it. It was Jeff Wojciechowski or something, like the tree that how they got Jeff Wojciechowski and stuff. That was the Messier? Or was that the Gratz?
I don't know. But
I
the
can't
trade,
even
the
remember
trade
now.
tree finally
Yeah, it's
ended
like-
after like 30 years.
But there was one of those trees, like and then it partly led to Chris Pronger too and stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
It's crazy.
Who it was weird actually. I'm not gonna lie. Him at Rogers Place
Yes.
last game, getting a standing ovation. Like I didn't know if I'd like honestly, you asked me that even 5 years ago or something. I didn't know if I'd ever see that day.
And he was wearing an Oilers alumni golf shirt.
Yeah, he
That
was-
like-
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
on
was-
the screen and he got a stand and he was like, let's
Yeah,
go.
he's
And he
all-
got fired up. It was awesome to see. And like, I do believe Oiler fans should think fondly of the season he had with the Oilers. How it ended was not good.
No.
Yeah.
But he helped lead, like, he's a big part of why that 06 run happened. Well, I mean, a very big part of
Yeah.
that. And he should be viewed very highly for what he did in that season. I just never thought I'd see the day.
He should love the city, doesn't he? Have
Where
a kid
he-
here?
Well, we can't say those things.
No, but doesn't he? Like he has. I'm not beaking it. Doesn't he have ties to the city still?
I don't know. I don't know. About that.
He was on the Sportsnet panel before the game talking with David Amber and Elliot Freeman, saying that like he was voicing like how he likes time here, and then he was like, "I hope we get a win here tonight. Hope we.
Yeah, I think he's here a lot.
I know. I was like, huh.
No,
Interesting.
He's not.
Oh, I didn't. I
And
thought he was.
there's other guys too that have ties that don't come back.
Yeah. I was just that was a valid. I'm not beaking it. I just
But
know.
but yeah, I just didn't think we'd see the day that he'd get a standing.
George Larocque gets the loudest, and Cassian gets the loudest cheers in those buildings though during the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Rolly too.
Yeah,
Rolly was good.
yeah, really was.
Did he have his dad there?
I can't remember.
Him? I like.
Who else
I
did they have?
enjoyed
Jason
Dwayne.
Smith was there. Who else did they
Was
put?
Torres been at a game or has it been just a video?
They just run a video, Oscar video.
Because he's been at the past.
That Oscar video's months old.
Yeah, I
Oscar
know, but they keep
video.
They're
using
ready to
it.
go. Yeah.
Hemsky was there.
Hammer
Hemsky.
Oh yeah,
was-
Hevsky was there.
His
Yeah.
hockey
He,
off the
he
homeless.
comes back
Yeah,
every
Hockey
now and
Homeless.
then. Yeah.
But he was here
his
for
wife
hockey off
from
the
here?
homeless.
Yes.
He has in-laws here.
Yeah.
They showed Schmid.
Well, Laddie lives
He
here.
lives here, but yeah.
Actually, I like that George. A couple times they showed him. Chris Joseph was next to him. There's no reference of Chris.
Joe's
and then another
awesome.
time Ron Lowe was next to him, and there was no reference of Ron. It was just George Larocque.
Well, even Chuba Hubbard went a little crazy there.
Okay, can I say something about the Chuba Hubbard one?
And Davies.
Why
Yes.
did those people sitting in front of Chuba stand
Yeah.
up
Oh, I
and
know.
get in the
What is
shot?
going
Yeah.
on?
Sit down, idiots.
Because they don't
You're
know
not
who
in
he
the
is.
They didn't know who he is.
Oh
They
my
were just
God.
cheering. They were just cheering.
Idiots.
Clearly didn't
like,
know who he
just
was then.
stupid. Sorry, I just had to vent. I remember. Thank you for reminding me about that because I was like, sit down. Let the NFL player from Edmonton get his moment here. Dum-dums.
I finally got to meet him, and I told him the only story I could tell him that meant something to him. His dad, their stepdad, the one that's taken care of him since he was a kid, is in my high school fantasy football league. We brought him in. Somebody bailed like 9 or 10 years ago. Somebody bailed, and one of my good friends, Ben, is friends with Lester and brought him on. So he's part of this fantasy football league. Every year since his kid was in the NFL, he would draft him in the first round.
Yeah.
I would
All right.
too.
And then last year, he got the first overall pick, and he drafted Chuba Hubbard.
Good.
And I was telling Chuba this story, and he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Dude, sit down with him, and just let him know. Like we
Let him
all
off
have
the
a
hook now?
We all have a pact, right? It's
Yeah.
like, Lester, we're not going to draft your kid.
Yeah.
We respect it, right?
You
So-
could pick him at the last pick.
He
Yes.
could pick the last pick. Well, and even after he had a wicked year last year, we will not pick him. We get it.
Yeah.
You're his hero, man. Like, right?
Yeah.
You're his guy.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do that. And I told Chuba that, and Chuba couldn't stop laughing. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I'm telling you, man. Even when you were a backup, first round pick, he's taking Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, never won. Lester's never won the league. Let's just say that.
Well,
Well, I think he needs to be off the hook
Yeah.
now. Like
it was
yeah.
cool to
hey,
meet him, though.
I'm glad you drafted me, but
Yeah.
now you could pick me a little bit
Yeah.
later if you want.
Yeah.
And if you have the first overall pick, feel free to grab
Yeah.
someone else
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfonso Davies too had a
Yeah, he was
huge.
there.
He was. It was loud with
Yeah.
him too.
Bad record when he's in the
let him
That's what
live
Sanders
Is he?
told me.
Yeah.
The
Pretty sure he's
Sanders
over
told me
4
they
or
haven't won
something.
once with him in attendance.
With him
to
in the
Oilers
building?
game. Yeah. So
That's good to know.
Oh, this text goes in with the picture. I watched the Oilers win the McDavid with this beauty. Jumped so high, my youngest thought it was a carnival ride. With the
Oh, that's
with his
hilarious.
kid,
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
I remember where I was for that. I was on the ice in Jasper at the arena there. I don't know if it's still up because they had that fire, but it was like an all-star spring hockey thing, and then we were doing a skills competition. They announced it on the intercom.
Really?
Yeah, so
Jeez.
all the Calgary teams were pissed off, and they're like all like sad and stuff, and all the Edmonton teams we all united and we were fired up.
Sit on attack, Calgary.
Yep. How about that? How about that, Calgary?
How about that?
They're about to have a way better building than us, though, when that thing gets built.
Sounds like they're value engineering a lot of it right now.
Oh, are they?
And there's some issues, yeah, with building on the banks of a river.
And there's no football stadium involved anymore, right?
No.
no, that was the Calgary Next
That was
project.
the
Was the
original
initial
plan.
project,
Right.
and then they threw away that and then went just for the arena. So
Right.
there's no plans right now of what's happening with McMahon or for the football team, which needs to get sorted out.
Yeah.
I always thought they'd need to sort it out until they get the next Grey Cup, but somehow they got a Grey Cup. So
Do they have next year's Grey Cup?
Yeah.
26?
yeah, so it's Winnipeg, Calgary, and then we don't know.
TBD, brah.
TBD, brah.
Yeah, Brett. I did that game my first time ever, like in the bowels of McMahon. They
Yeah.
need a new stadium.
Well, they've needed one since the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And they got another Grey Cup?
Next
I
year?
had of
Yeah,
Edmonton.
next year.
How do we not get a Grey Cup?
That's
It's a great question. I forgot what I heard with that
It
one.
was they
money.
promised like
Yeah,
this much return on the dollar or something.
They promised more guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like back to the league?
The league, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but I do know that I've heard that the Oilers will be going for, or not the Oilers, the Elks will be going for the 20, so that'd be 27. They'd be going for 27, which it's a hard one to see coming because it will have gone BC, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton. It's just weird that
gotta
it'd
go
be
back out
4
east?
straight. Now, it's a bid process, and it's not like it used to be where it's like they kind of just pick cities. But like Ottawa's going under big renovations, though.
Montreal will have the big O because it's going under big
It's
renovations.
renovations as well. Toronto hasn't hosted it in a bit, though. Like the last time they hosted was
16?
before Edmonton.
Oh, was it that long?
Hamilton's hosted, so they won't get it.
Hamilton had it twice.
Yeah, but one was the COVID year.
Sure, but that's
Yeah.
twice still.
So like, but so that's the only benefit Edmonton might maybe have of getting in 27 is the fact that Ottawa and Montreal, depending on what their stadiums are. So it's like, does Toronto want it? Because
Could be.
that'd be the big thing. And I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see how that all goes.
You can see at BMO Field they're renovating it right now. You can see some renovations.
Well, that's for the
happening.
World Cup.
Yeah, I know, but
Because and they're doing weird design for that World Cup. It looks weird how they're putting some of the seats in and things like that.
So how big will it be for the World Cup?
50?
they can get it up to
Maybe.
50.
I don't
'cause
know.
It's regular 30,000.
Canada's
stadium.
second and third games are there?
First game's in Toronto.
Well, the first game's in Toronto.
then the
sorry.
next two, they finish out the group, the next two in Vancouver. If they finish top of their group, they'll play the first knockout game in Vancouver. If they win that game, they'll play the next knockout game in Vancouver. If they win that game, then they send to the US.
You're really optimistic about it.
Is all
No,
this
but that's-
announced?
Well, how soccer works is it's a full like it's fully. You can go look at how things would play out to a
Okay.
degree. Now you have to wait for teams to drop in a pool, but Canada, Mexico, and US are immediately into their pools. We know what group they're going to be in, and we know
okay.
their schedule. So if they finish top of their group, like okay, the winner of Group B goes here, and then the knockout plan from there.
Yeah.
If they finish second, you go okay, they would go here, and then you watch their progression. So like that's the one beauty of soccer. Is you could plan
Right.
well ahead of time of what could happen.
But if Canada makes the playoffs at the World Cup, they're not assured of playoff games in Canada.
If they finish first, they are.
Right,
If they
but that's
don't,
what I mean.
they won't play another game in Canada.
Right.
They'll go to the US and they'll stay in the US the rest of the time, basically. So
I'm looking at the renovations for BMO for World Cup. It does look weird.
yeah, it's a weird little venue that they have
Yeah.
set up for that. I was trying to see if I could quickly find what the expanded.
It almost looks like that one deck of extra seats would be obscured
Yes,
view by the overhang on the
45-7 is the capacity that they'll get. Speaking of Canada soccer, Gold Cup starts today, 8:30 out in Vancouver. Oilers is at 6, so you could go right from watching the Oilers force a Game 7, switch your TV over and watch the Gold Cup taking on Honduras. Canada on Play Alberta was the third best odds to win the Gold Cup, but Landon Donovan American star, formerly. He says Canada might be the best going into this tournament. They are playing very well under Jesse Marsh. Want to get this out there. So our Canadian boys start their Gold Cup quest. We haven't won the Gold Cup since 2000.
Right.
So looking for two trophies. We won a trophy last week with the Canadian Shield, so hopefully getting a second trophy. But this is the last big competition that's meaningful in terms of points or qualification, things like that, prior to next year's World Cup. So
I said
let's go,
obscured.
boys.
I said obscured. I meant obstructed. I apologize. It's bad.
Well,
Bad English.
Isn't there also club?
The Club World Cup's going
World
on right
Cup?
now. No one cares.
Well, we care at the Brewhouse because we're showing all these games. You can come
Oh,
down.
are you guys?
You can come down and watch the Gold Cup, the fake World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, pre-World Cup. You
I
can
didn't know
watch
you
all.
guys were going into Club World Cup.
We can watch all these games. You know, you can. I don't have any Twitter, but you can reach out to us on any of our websites. But we're showing as much soccer as you want to watch.
Oh, I'll go watch some of
Nice.
those ones.
Yeah, and the Ice House has the big floor to ceiling screen on the rooftop patio too. That is going to be watching.
nice.
That is going to be playing soccer as well. So we are, that daytime lunch where you want to go crush a steak sandwich and watch some soccer. It's happening with
Well,
sound.
It's what we love. Like, it's one thing I'm very excited about the next World Cup is when Canada was in the last World Cup, it was the winter one. You didn't get the patio.
It's true.
There's something
Yeah.
about watching the major tournaments, the Euro, like
Yeah.
Copa, we got it last
Yeah.
year. Copa, Euros, World Cups, where you sit on the patio in the afternoon, you grab a nice cold one,
Yeah.
and you just watch some footy. It's great. And I love you guys were like last year for the Euros, like a big the Ice
England.
House, England. I could hear it going off
Oh,
Yes.
when they would like it was going off there.
Those guys were wasted.
Those guys are some of my favorite people. We're already planning the one for next year. They're actually had other countries reach out to them and ask them to host their parties up there. I was the one that was buying the smoke grenades. I'm like, guys, they're like, we don't think that we can do this. I was like, we're not having an England soccer game without some smoke grenades. So
Yeah, those were cool.
yeah, it was cool.
Was the last World Cup the France Argentina?
Yes.
Was it Mbappe that got the hat trick, but they lost? What's the guy's name?
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe and Messi both were just brilliant in that game. It was
Okay,
a
and
back
did,
and forth.
did England lose the semi?
They did. Because they've had a lot of runs lately. So they would have
Because
lost
they
that
lost the
semi.
Euro final to Italy, right?
They lost to France, I'm pretty sure, in that one. Because Argentina beat Netherlands.
Or the
I
previous,
think.
maybe I'm thinking
Was
of
that
the
is that a
previous
different
Euro,
one?
the one that got moved to 21.
For what? When they lost in
Didn't England lose the Euro final at Wembley?
yes, it's Italy. In
Was that
Euros.
2021, the one that should have been in 20?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's been one since then.
Last year, Spain beat.
Oh yeah, because Spain's won a bunch of stuff last.
They didn't
20
beat
years,
England
haven't they?
again, did they? Did
England was in the final. I
They
think.
got back
Yeah.
to the final,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Oh, did they? Okay.
Because Spain
Yeah.
beat France to get there, and it was against England. And
We
Spain
rode-
beat England again.
We rode the right country for the tourney last year, but we think Oiler fans are hardcore and really hard on their team. I hung out with those England guys very early in the morning, and those guys, like they tell you exactly how it is. That guy, no, this guy sucks. No, that guy, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do that. Like they're already counting them out for the World Cup. Like they're excited that they're gonna be there, if once they qualify or
But
whatever.
England doesn't win.
But they don't win, and
They
their
don't win
fans
it.
know that. And
They're the
like,
Leafs.
Yeah, like
And that's in a way they're the Leafs of that.
one of my best buddies, Milburn. He doesn't stop reminding me. He's like, man, you're wasting all this effort and time to plug in this England tournament watch parties because they're not going to go anywhere.
I remember walking through the plaza right by Ice House after one of those England games, and they were stumbling and bumbling around, and I'm like, it's 1:30. What
Yeah.
the hell just happened?
There was 300. There was minimum 300 people
Yeah,
every match. Doesn't matter what time it was.
yeah.
And then we brought this old lady. I don't even know her company name, but she sells like Brit style snacks. There's a place on White Ave that she owns.
Okay.
She was selling out of everything. It was like people didn't even realize that you could go down the road to buy this on White Ave. It was one of the greatest experiences. There's kids screaming and swearing. There's little kids holding the smoke grenades. Like it was bananas, man.
Because I'm on this. in the same building as Maddie, but I face south, so I can hear some.
Yeah.
But I don't get and I can't see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was just wandering through the plaza and I'm like, what the hell is going on at Ice House?
Oh, DJ starts at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, and it was all England guys, and they were barfing and just stumbling.
They weren't doing that at the Ice House. They were drinking at Hudson's
save
there.
it for the
but
plaza, just like
plaza,
Oilers fans during the Moss Pit.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
see it. Trust me, I have to step over it. Landmines everywhere.
Robbie Williams is a huge part of warm up England soccer like parties. So I listened to Robbie Williams pretty much every single game day for 3 hours.
I like Robbie Williams.
I do too, but I didn't know that, right? So but yeah, those guys are crazy.
I miss our Rob Williams too.
Canada, June 12th next year in Toronto, June 18th in Vancouver, June 24th in Vancouver.
Are you going to go?
Yes.
You already planned it?
I'm looking. Hotels are not up yet. Like it's some of the websites for hotels. They go to the end of May right now. So I'm waiting.
Do you want to go to all three or just the Vancouver?
I want to go to
ones?
all of them.
You want to go to every single World Cup game?
No, of Canada. Sorry. Would like to. Well, if Italy makes it, which I don't think they will, I would like to go see an Italian game at some point. I would like to go see a Ukraine game at some point if they're in it.
Okay.
But Canada, I will be.
You want to go to all three? Do Toronto?
I
Vancouver,
wanted to
Vancouver?
follow them the
You
entire
guys going
way.
together? Is that
Like,
what you're asking?
Like, because like straight up, like I'm in the Voyagers, which is the supporters group of the Canadian soccer.
Oh, right.
And like Copa America was going to be a big deal because it was messy last year. And I was talking with one of our listeners, Larry Zima, who's with the Voyagers as well. And there's a lot of people since the World Cup of 22 that have gone to Voyagers hoping to get tickets and planning for 26. So there's been a lot of late entries. So it's like, well, how are they going to disperse the tickets? I'm somehow, because I did it in the qualifying before the World Cup, I didn't do it for the World Cup. I'm in earlier. I might be in a higher tier. So like, I think I have a better chance of securing my World Cup tickets through the supporters group. But no, like I will, when those tickets go on sale, I'll have to like take like a day off of work so that I can.
Because you got to phone 451-8000
well, I need
over
to
and over
sit.
again.
I bought my Copa America tickets on the Hangout.
I love that.
I got my Copa America tickets on the Hangout last year, but I'm not risking my World Cup ones. No, I want to be there and go to all of those.
Can't you just flash your badge somewhere and be like, I'm Matt from EST?
I don't want press box.
That's
I want to be with the supporters. I want to be in the seats. I want to be decked out in Canadian gear, and I want to be cheering on the Canadian boys.
Oh, so when you go to press box, you can't deck out anything.
There's I think in the World Cup there'd be a little more cheering, but no one's decked out in gear. No one's there to just cheer.
Yeah.
You're working, Patty. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are World Cup tickets that hard? Like, do you have to get into a pre group to get tickets?
It's weird how it goes. But like tickets aren't yet on sale. People could see them on StubHub and stuff. That's for very premium tickets. There are different levels, but usually there's like lotteries for it. Now, when it comes to your country playing in it, there's usually tickets for those federations.
Oh, okay.
But like the world wants to come watch these games.
Yeah.
And if Canada is playing in Vancouver and they're taking on, let's say, Japan's coming to come watch that World Cup game. They're going to want tickets. So it can be difficult and stuff. But like, I also want to sit with the supporters group.
Yeah.
I want to sit where the chants are and where it's about bringing the noise and stuff. So
And when's the draw? December, when we'll know the schedule, or is it after that?
December.
Because a few teams are qualified, isn't there? 3 or 4?
Yeah, there's
the
quite a
hosts?
few now
Okay.
slowly coming in. December's usually the draw, which is a lot of fun.
And this is where they do it out of the fish bowls. And
I
all
It's
love
that.
great.
how they do
You gotta
that.
get Canadian celebrities.
Imagine
to,
if you did the NHL season every year. You'd read
That
through
way?
your divisions.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And it's all of a sudden Edmonton is in a division with Dallas and the Islanders and the Flyers and Seattle. And like that's how we did divisions every year. Just redrew them all.
You get this really beautiful lady
pots.
in a elegant.
And I love when there's
outfit.
like only one ball left,
And
and
they
they
roll
still,
it.
they still
Do
make
it.
them do it. I remember watching the one for America, and like Evander Holyfield drew one.
94?
And Sepp Blatter was the FIFA
Yeah.
president, and Robin Williams did some of the draws, and he was just his manic self. And he was like, "Oh, Mr. Blatter, I just emptied you in the bathroom." And he's like doing his weird stuff.
Sepp Blatter, one of the most corrupt sportsmen in all the world.
The new FIFA president has one-upped him. Straight up. He has completely one-upped him on corruption. Sepp Blatter was actually looking more like innocent than compared to this one. EST Hangout, the official drink, it is the Finnish long drink legend, a 1952 drink. Unlike any other sparkling refreshment, real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada, where you can enter your postal front at the liquor store or establishment nearest you with the long drink. When the Oilers force a Game 7 at Rogers Place on Friday, you'll be able to get it there. Reid, you've got a show coming up 3 to 5. Thank you for coming in. Tommy, you've got OG CLT's Oil Stream pregame show and postgame show tonight starting at 5 o'clock, the pregame show. Patty from the Brewhouse, Ice House, Banquet. Plant Life, Tesoro.
Ribeye.
I think I got ribeye. I forgot one.
I
Damn.
got you.
Patty, thanks for
Mayonnaise
coming in.
Donaire.
Mayonnaise Donaire, Beaumont.
My
Thank
mom
you for
loves
coming
it.
in.
Hey, I had a
appreciate
great time. Thanks. I didn't even swear once, so it was great.
Bone-in steak night Saturday. Get your tickets. They're going out. They're going quickly at the Canadian Brewhouses everywhere. On behalf of Patty, Reid, Tommy, Benny, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning into the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage. Right here in your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Edmonton Sports Stock presented by Play Alberta. Lock Shop coming up in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go. Right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today,